100. I mean, they can thunder and roar. Hello again, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson along with Dan Fouts. One of the most interesting things about this matchup to me, Dan, is whether or not Onterrio Smith can run the football against the Trojan defense.
No question, Keith. Onterrio Smith is one of the best backs in the entire nation. He's capable of making incredible moves or running tacklers over. And last week, he finally got to display his breakaway speed. He has gained over 100 yards in all 7 games this season. But SC's defense has faced some of the very best runners in the country, from Cadillac Williams of Auburn to Colorado's Chris Brown, the Beavers' Steven Jackson, and the entire state of Washington. This season, the Trojans have not allowed a 100-yard rusher in a game. Something's got to give.
Well, they haven't looked at Smith either, so that'll be an interesting thing to see. Watson Stadium, renovated, really spiffy. Great setting for our game this afternoon. Schedule in the Pac-10 today, headlined by this game, each team with 1 loss. The rest of the schedule, Washington State 3-0 and Arizona State 3-0. The Cougars are in Arizona tonight in Tucson, and Arizona State's at home hosting Washington. Now let's go to the field if we can hear him and Todd Harris.
Well, Keith, as you and Dan both know, Oregon's Autzen Stadium is considered by most in the Pac-10 as one of the noisiest stadiums in the conference, and by many around the country, one of the toughest places for an opponent to play. And with the Ducks losing for only the 2nd time in 31 games, well, as Keith would say, the Duck fans are a little bit cranky. And they come complete with 54,000 sets of noisemakers. USC coach Pete Carroll and SC aide Mike Garrett especially led a charge to have them banned at football games. Unfortunately, that rule does not go into effect until next year. So the Oregon Promotion Department rolled out the noisemakers in honor of the Trojans and their coach. And with 54,000 sets of these going at the same time, it'll make it tough for the Trojans to hear or think. One bit of good news for the Trojans, Keith, the new stadium here provides some relief for the visiting bench. They added these planters, which now give the visiting team an extra few feet of room from the hostile fans and those cheer sticks. Keith.
We've got a gorgeous afternoon for a football game. The temperature's in the 50s. It's pretty much clear, and it's dry and fast. Mike Bellotti, his career against Southern California reflected there. His football team is 6-1 overall, 2-1 in the Pac-10. The Southern California Trojans have had a bit of a bump in the road a couple of times against Washington State and against Kansas State, losing both their games on the road. And here's the kickoff by Killeen way back into the end zone, and he's coming out. It's Onterrio Smith coming with it, and he breaks into the clear. He's got 1 man to beat, and he can't do it. The kicker came over to get him, and Darrell Rideaux on the kickoff team brought him down. So Onterrio Smith running it from about 7 yards deep in the end zone, puts it on the Southern California side of the field.
And Keith, because he was so deep, I think the Trojans expected him to just down the ball. But when you have speed such as Onterrio Smith possesses, even 7 to 8 yards deep, watch the hole here left side behind Amundsen 34. A huge gap and a good job by Killeen and the safety to come over to keep him out of the end zone.
Smith will officially get a 55-yard return on the kick. It's Terrence Whitehead opening now at the tailback position. Since Onterrio Smith had that burst up the field, he has to go catch his breath. And back goes Fife to throw. Jason Fife has a man, throws it low. They give him a catch, and it's good for a first down at the 34-yard line, Sammy Parker. Jason Fife going through one of those times trying to succeed a legend here at Oregon, Joey Harrington, and he's doing quite nicely, thank you very much. 61% completions and 179 attempts for 15 touchdowns and only 2 picks. That ain't bad. That's second in the country in passing efficiency. So it's Onterrio Smith, now that he's got his wind back in there at the tailback position for Oregon from the 34-yard line. First down for the Ducks, and they send Parker in motion. Give it to Smith. He's into the middle of the line, and there he'll run into the likes of Mike Patterson and Bernard Riley. The AT&T Wireless starting lineups now for Oregon. Howry and Parker and tailback Smith all exemplify fast football. That's the way Oregon plays it. Smith has 7 consecutive 100-yard games. The offensive front, you do not lead the conference in rushing out here without a solid offensive group. Center Dan Weaver is the man who went from walk-on to team captain and leads that front. And here's the pitch back to Smith. Smith coming around the corner. He'll be thrown out of bounds, however, at about the 32-yard line by DeShaun Hill.
A little misdirection there for Oregon with the pitch to the weak side. Get Onterrio Smith out in space in a wide open area, and he gets a nice job of blocking out in front by wide receiver Jason Willis. Watch the misdirection. Fake to the right, and Onterrio comes out all by himself and takes this pitch from Fife. Now number 8 working out here gets that block there, and DeShaun Hill saves a touchdown.
So the ball is on the 27-yard line, and Terrence Whitehead is back in there. They throw it. It's almost intercepted. It went right into the hands of Jason Leach, playing in the backfield as a nickel back right now. He's been playing in relief for Polamalu. Udeze, Riley, Patterson, and Nazell are the 4 guys up front, and they are a very good group of defenders against the run. The linebackers, Mike Pollard stays in around that line of scrimmage a lot himself, too. And the secondary, they've got one 5'8" guy themselves, Darrell Rideaux, but he's a senior, and he's got some wisdom. Here's Jared Siegel into the ball game for a field goal try. Plenty of leg, and it is good from 44 yards. So the Oregon Ducks, off that 55-yard kickoff return by Onterrio Smith, cash it in for a 3-0 lead. Siegel has made his last 10 field goal tries. Jared Siegel will kick it off for the Oregon Ducks. Marcel Alman and Justin Fargas are waiting for the Southern California Trojans to return it. Oregon leads 3-0 on Siegel's 44-yard field goal. And it's got carried to the 5-yard line. Fargas, who's got some daylight, and Fargas, who will put a shoulder pad on you, comes out across the 30-yard line to about the 31.
Keith's Oregon defense last week was just torched by the Sun Devils. Andrew Walter over 500 yards passing, which is a Pac-10 record. They scored 45 points against the Ducks, and the Sun Devils were just unstoppable as they scored on 8 straight possessions. Coach Nick Galeotti has got to be very concerned about the confidence level of his young corners and that entire secondary.
And we start this snap with some news for you. Justin Fargas is the tailback. His first start, Carson Palmer stands up and throws short. It's good for about 4 yards to Malaefou MacKenzie out of the backfield. Despite the fact that Carson Palmer has yet to win a game against the Oregon Ducks, he's going to leave some pretty hefty footprints in Southern California and Pac-10 history. Already holds 7 school records, and given health, he could become the conference career record holder in total offense and in passing yardage. Big guy, 6'6", and about 220-odd pounds, maybe 26 pounds. We'll call it second down and 5, and MacKenzie. And the ball is thrown outside to Mike Williams, the true freshman from Tampa, Florida. And Williams is across midfield and down to about the 47-yard line. AT&T Wireless starting lineup for the Trojans. We told you that Fargas is in there for his first start at tailback. Mike Williams, who just caught that ball, he had 3 touchdown receptions last week. Colbert, Williams, and Kareem Kelly. That's 3 pretty good wide receivers, and we're going to see them all today. Kelly is quite healthy. Offensive front, you see there, it's a good group. Winston Justice has added some sock at the right tackle spot. Here comes the linesman in from the sidelines, and he stops it. They're trying to get the chains untangled, it looks like, on the far side of the field.
Keith, it appears at the end of that run that Mike Williams may have sprained his ankle. He got a great block from Grant Matos to spring him on that little bubble screen, but at the end on the tackle, he was twisted, and he may have a bad ankle.
Kareem Kelly is in there to replace him. Kelly brings a lot of speed, and he's a senior. He knows what things are about. And Palmer back, hands the ball off to Fargas, and Fargas will hammer in there for a couple of yards. He's 210 pounds. and he is willing to sell out on every time he carries the ball into that line. The Oregon defense along the front, big quick ends in McEwen and Wright. And the guys in the middle, Olshansky, a Ukrainian, and the freshman Haloti Ngata, they are something special. Linebackers are very good. Garrett stands 6'5". The secondary, Oregon has been short all year. They've made one change. They've got a 5'11 freshman in there at a corner today, Marcus Benz, but he only weighs 160 pounds. They throw it to the sidelines. The pass is caught by Keary Colbert. Colbert diving for the marker, and he's going to have it. First down, Trojans, down around the Oregon 34-yard line.
We have seen some excellent blocking by the wide receivers. Grant Matos on the pass to Mike Williams previous, and now watch the block out here by Kelly to set Colbert off down the sidelines to pick up this first down. Great teamwork between wide receivers there as Kelly takes care of the freshman Benz, number 13.
I had Mike Williams has come back into the ballgame, Dan, so apparently he lucked out and didn't take the twist. They play on field turf here. They've gotten rid of the rug, and it's a little more forgiving. It's much more like Mother Earth. And here's Fargas on a cutback over the left side, and he's got the better part of 5 yards on that carry.
Justin Fargas may be better suited for this type of run offensive coordinator Norm Chow. It's a zone blocking scheme where each offensive lineman just reaches out, gets a hat on the man in front of him, and then it's up to the running back to look for the hole and take one cut and go. The problem with Sultan McCullough, he hesitated too many times.
Second down and 5. Palmer still got it, looking, wants to go toward the end zone. He's got a man out there, and it's just beyond the fingertips of Keary Colby. They ran a very good route, had broken free from the defender, but the ball was a foot too high. Stephen Moore and Keith Lewis were defending on the play.
Stephen Moore at 5'9", another one of these tiny Oregon cornerbacks. Ball is thrown about a foot too far for Keary Colbert, or the Trojans are in the end zone.
Norm Chow and I were talking earlier in the week, and I asked him how come we got so many of these little guys playing the quarterback positions, and Norm said because they can run. They're very quick. Moretti coming under blitz. Palmer gets it out of there. The ball is caught on the sidelines by number 1 Mike Williams as he slid away from the defender. He's inside the 10-yard line. It's first and goal Trojans, and he got away from Marcus Benz, who's making his first start.
Yeah, Marcus is 5'11". That's a great move by Kelly. Good use of the left hand to push Benz to the inside, and then Carson Palmer with a soft touch on the fade route, and the Trojans are in business inside the 10.
Williams is 6'5", 210, so he's got a goodly bit of size advantage against most of the Oregon defenders. Keith Lewis, we figured the safety might be the man spying on him, but so far not the case. First and goal Trojans. Ball is given to Fargas. He's got trouble behind the line of scrimmage, but he gets away from the first wave, eluded 2, and then he's knocked down right on the 10-yard line by Webster and Lewis, the 2 safeties.
You know, if you take Keith Lewis out of the middle, then you take out a great tackler. Both he and Rasuli Webster, the Oregon safeties, are very good at coming up. Watch number 16 square up and take care of Justin Fargas along with Rasuli Webster. That's why the Ducks are reluctant to put Lewis out on a corner.
They mark the ball at the 8-yard line, where it is second down and goal. Palmer back, throws it on down the middle to Malaefou MacKenzie. MacKenzie to the goal line, hands go up, touchdown Trojans. Rasuli Webster was coming but didn't get there in time.
Trojans got the matchup they wanted. Malaefou MacKenzie on linebacker David Moretti. Here comes MacKenzie right out of the backfield, and there's Moretti too late on the close. And great effort to get in the end zone.
Killeen for the extra point try out of the hole of Tom Malone. Ball is down, snap is good, hold good, kick good.
Kick is good.
So they go 70 yards in 9 plays with 9 minutes and 58 seconds to play in the first quarter. USC takes the lead at 7-3. Carson Carson Palmer having a good hand in that drive of 70 yards, 3.5 minutes on it. The Trojans take the lead for the first time today, 7-3 in the first quarter. Killeen will kick it off. Onterrio Smith and Alan Amundsen are the deep people. Smith is standing on the near side, Amundsen on the far side. And now they're being asked to come up, come up, come up. Smith does. He gets the ball at the 22-yard line, looks for a crack, looks for some help from his pals, and he gets up to about the 36-yard line. ABC Sports presentation of college football, brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. AT&T, welcome to M-Life. AT&T Wireless. Chili's, like no place else. And Bowflex, for real fitness results. And I'm not a good example. I left it in Canada. First down, Ducks. They're on 36-yard line. Smith is your deep man. Fife's throwing. Pass is in the air. Tight coverage. Incomplete. Coverage on Keenan Howry by Darrell Rideaux, and only Rideaux had a chance to catch the ball. Onterrio Smith, only 10 times in what is it now, about 185 rushes, has been held to negative yards. 10 times out of 185 carries. That's pretty good.
And there's a number of reasons why. Obviously, the offensive line is pretty good, but he's patient, and he's explosive, and he just needs a little tiny crease to make positive yards.
And he came into this game needing 64 for 1,000. There it goes to Amundsen, trying to go around on a reverse, and he's tackled by Troy Polamalu, who comes from 10 Mile, Oregon.
You know where that is, don't you?
No.
Between 9 Mile and 11 Mile.
I'll be.
Actually, it's down in the Roseburg area. Keith, about an hour from here.
Then how do you get down to USC? How come you guys let him get away?
Well, I am an impartial observer here today, Keith, so I'm not sure what you mean by you guys.
Third down and 9. He's a great player. No question about that.
No question.
Fife for the play action. Rolls and looks and throws short. And the ball is caught by Keenan Howry. And Keenan Howry can make things happen in a hurry. The senior out of Los Alamitos, California. And he's right on the first down marker. And that's 43 consecutive games now that Keenan Howry has caught a pass. Kareem Kelly needs to catch one today, and he'll match that pace. And they will both move past the record of 42 consecutive games previously held by Dennis Northcutt of Arizona.
And I asked Keenan how important that record is to him, and he told me that it was very important because it showed what a career can be. And it's also an important record for the university and for the program to be able to say, hey, when they're recruiting, we have an all-time record holder here. And that could be you someday, son, if you come and play for the Ducks. Of course, the Trojans will be able to say the same thing once number 2, Kareem Kelly, makes a catch today.
And remember, Sean McDonald out at ASU, he isn't through yet either. Boy, he's something. Fife moving around, has all day, and now lets it rip. He's got a man wide open. It's touchdown, Keenan Howry. Great blocking, the agility of Fife, and he shows off his gun.
Keith, he's only been sacked 13 times this year. This offensive line did a super job of giving him a lane, and he was very tempted to take off and run with this ball. But watch as he comes back. There'll be a huge lane open up here. He'll step up into it. But look, he could have run for 10 or 15 yards here. But he keeps his eyes down the field, finds number 15, and it's all over.
54 yards. Troy Polamalu realized what was happening and tried to recover and go back deep to cover, but there's no way he's going to run with Keenan Howry. 4 plays, 64 yards, minute and a half. The kick is good, and the Oregon Ducks are back in front by a score of 10-7.
Drive summary for Oregon. Those first two possessions, actually, when they started the 45 after the great kickoff return, just got a field goal out of it, but then the bomb to Howry paid off in 6.
And the kick high in the air, and not much of a return once Marcel Almond got it. The Ducks were swarming all over him, and the field position's pretty good out at the 27-yard line.
Number 43 is Troy Polamalu, and that flash that goes by is Keenan Howry. The reason Howry could get by Polamalu, who was playing deep, is because Jason Fife had all that time to throw.
On the kickoff team, you've got an Oregon man down, and that man is Keith Allen, who is one of the wide receivers, a big guy, 6'1", 205. And he's hurt on the play, and they're working on the knee. That's not good.
He was the primary tackler on the play, and he got run into by a teammate, Stephen Moore. Ran right up the back of his legs.
At the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet making a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. So we're still waiting for Keith Allen.
And Keith, that 64-yard touchdown reception, or that long touchdown reception, rather, by Keenan Howry, his first touchdown catch against SC, so he has now scored against every school in the Pac-10.
Oregon to the lead, 3-0, 44-yard field goal by Siegel, his 10th in a row. Trojans came back, stuck it in the end zone from 70 yards to 7-3 lead. Now Oregon has responded on a 54-yard pass run play. Fife to Howry, and they have regained the lead 10-7 with 8 minutes and 19 seconds to play in the first quarter. And we're at Auction Stadium in Eugene. Here come the Trojans for their second possession from their own 27-yard line, and the penalty flag is thrown by the referee. And it probably has something to do with alignment. They broke the huddle with 12 people, that's right. Jack Folliard is the referee, Dennis Angel the umpire, Royce Cooley the head linesman, Cap Anderson the line judge, Rob Bernacci the side judge, field judge is Dan Spriesterbach, and the back judge is David Lambros.
You never want to start a possession off with a penalty, but in this game, I don't think that field position is really going to matter. It's going to be a wide open affair.
Palmer still got it. Jumps it off to McKenzie out of the backfield. Malaefou MacKenzie, who's a very good receiver, will gain a yard on the play, and that's about all.
And another injury to an Oregon Duck. Rasuli Webster is down on the ground. He got tattooed by Grant Matos, wide receiver, who's thrown his second great block of the afternoon. Palmer was rolling out. Webster was closing, and Matos just cleaned him up.
Rasuli Webster injured on the play.
First word is, what was the color of that truck that hit me? It was wearing red.
And the number was 87. If you really want to know.
If you're looking for the license number.
Keith, let's take a look at it. From the outside here, you'll see Grant Matos come in. Number 22 is Webster right here. Watch this shot. Never saw him coming.
Right into the rib cage, too, didn't he?
Yeah, that could be any number of things. Rib, collarbone, shoulder. And that's a huge, huge loss for Oregon if he can't go. Because his backup is Marley Tucker, and the Ducks had planned on using some 34 defense today and putting Tucker at linebacker. So this secondary, which has been shell-shocked, not only last week, but gave up an opening touchdown drive to the Trojans this week, losing a very valuable member, senior Rasuli Webster.
Well, he's walking reasonably comfortably, so maybe he'll be all right. Maybe he was just deflated.
He had the noise knocked out of his noisemaker.
Boy. It's always the case in combative activity. It's the one you don't see, right?
Yep.
Second down and still close to 10 yards. Flip it outside to Fargas. Fargas is out there one-on-one. He's going to pick up pretty good gain on the play. Get it up to about the 35-yard line where Darrell Wright makes the tackle.
You could just see how happy the Trojans players and the Trojan fans were last week when Fargas scored on that touchdown run against University of Washington. But he looks 100% healthy over those hamstring problems that plagued him throughout the training camp this year. And he's a very valuable asset because it's just that. He doesn't hesitate. He just goes full speed.
3rd down and 2 now for USC. Palmer's pass, good for the 1st down. He went to Williams, the freshman, drilled it right to number 1.
Yeah, the freshman gave him way too much room. With 3rd down and 1 or 2 yards, this is too much of a cushion here. But the problem with the Oregon Duck defense, especially their corners, is that when they come up tight, we've already saw how Williams used his left hand to push Binns away on a fade route. So he's going to play him in between now, it appears.
Now Kareem Kelly's in the lineup. Back to Fargas. He runs hard. Brought down by Marley Tucker. Pete Carroll's comment about attacking the small secondary people of Oregon.
They're going to have to do something maybe a little different than just play straight man-to-man all the time, other than win the matchups. You know, and I think we favor the matchups, so we're going after them. You know, if that's what it's going to be on that day.
That's what they're doing, and they're making hay with it right now. It's 2nd down, 4. Palmer back, looks, goes to the sidelines. The ball thrown off the hands of Keary Colbert. Next Saturday, we will have the showdown in the Pac-10 between the Sun Devils of Arizona State and the Cougars of Washington State up in Pullman. There will be other regional action as well next Saturday at 12:30 Pacific, right here on ABC. Better leave early then.
Yeah, and I'm going to limit you to just 4 Go Cougs throughout that broadcast. So you got to watch yourself, partner.
Oh, my goodness. Well, can I have one now?
No. This is a Duck game.
3rd down and 4. Penalty flag is thrown. Pass is incomplete. Moretti defending against the tight end Alex Holmes.
And this may be against SC for illegal motion. Flag thrown immediately. They're going to get Ducks lined up in the neutral zone.
Oh, that's a 1st down. That's a 5-yard penalty. And it gives USC a 1st down. The pass was incomplete.
Offside on the defense, 5 yards, 1st down.
Looked like they had him stopped and looking at 4th and 4, but lining up in the neutral zone, offsides or encroachment or whatever you want to call it.
I really didn't see any movement. It had to be somebody lined up with his head into that zone, which is the length of the football.
So that is a mistake. Big one by the Ducks. It gives the Trojans life. Instead of 4th and 4, it's 1st and 10 from the Oregon 46. Palmer to the sidelines. Ball caught. And it goes to Kareem Kelly, and Kelly now matches the record pace of Keenan Howry at 43 consecutive games with a reception.
And the fans here in Oregon can complain about the secondary all they want, but this great pass defense always starts with a good pass rush. And they're getting no pass rush on Palmer right now.
Not at all.
And Kelly looks awful good, doesn't he?
Yep. He's going full speed. Just under 6 minutes to go in the 1st quarter now. Ball given to Fargas. Bangs in there and goes down at about the 35-yard line. That'll be a 1st down. Valenzuela gets the tackle for Oregon in their defensive tackle.
1st down, USC.
I don't know that I've ever seen a more pleasant afternoon in Eugene for a football game. This time of year. It can be very wet.
It's been a wonderful fall in the state of Oregon, throughout the Northwest.
So it's 1st down, just short of the 36-yard line. Oregon side of the field, Trojan ball. Oregon leading 10-7. Palmer looks deep. Now they make him move around a little bit. He gets his ball away to the end zone. No. Keary Colbert couldn't come up with it. Ball hit the ground. Marcus Benz defending on the play. And they are really picking on him right now.
Yeah, and that's the key, though, is you've got to move Palmer around. You can't let him go back and throw on rhythm. He's too good. He's too experienced. At first, he's looking for Mike Williams right down the middle, but that's when he had pressure. He had to move. And so now he decides to pick up his outlet receiver. This is a heck of an effort by Colbert and the defensive back Benz there to make sure Colbert doesn't come up with that touchdown catch.
Colbert's off the field now for the Trojans on 2nd down and 10. Kelly and Williams are the principal wideouts. They throw it inside to Williams on through a wide receiver screen. He breaks free. He will score. Lenny Vandermeer gave him a huge block and sent him on his way.
You know, normally you see that wide receiver screen, Keith, and the receiver brings it all the way into the middle of the field where he picks up his blockers. That was a heck of an adjustment by Williams to cut to the outside all the way back and get in the end zone.
Trojans have regained the lead now. And Killeen is in for the extra point. Good. At 5:08 to go in the first quarter. Well, better send out for some more chalk. It's 14-10, and we've barely just begun as the Trojans go 73 yards in 9 plays.
Key block by number 78 down here, Lenny Vandermeer. Watch him come out and lay this block that sets Williams down the sideline. Marley Tucker's number 23. Remember, he's replacing Rasuli Webster as a strong safety position. Looked like he was a little bit out of position, took a bad angle, but look at the speed of Williams as he just separates from the Oregon secondary.
Keyshawn Johnson, to a large degree, responsible for Williams finding his way from Tampa, Florida, to Southern California.
And Norm Chow knows how to throw Mike Williams the darn ball, huh? 4 catches, 81 yards, 1 touchdown for Mike Williams today.
When he learns how, he'll be pretty good. Killeen will kick it off. Amundsen and Smith are the deep people.
Our punters today may get the day off.
Pops it up. They don't want him to get that big run on him again. Here he comes. Got a crack. And he's knocked out of bounds at the 38, 39-yard line. Boy, for a second, it looked like he might be gone again. Now let's join Todd.
Attention for their use of billboards, now referenced as Billboard U. It all started with Joey Harrington's Times Square Heisman campaign last year and was replaced this year by Keenan Howry. Now on Wednesday, Oregon running back Onterrio Smith joined the party with his O-Man billboard, but on the USC campus, it's this billboard in LA, only a few blocks from the school, that has everyone's attention. It has been taken as an insult by many Trojans, and the fact that the Trojans are the Ducks are the defending Pac-10 champions, this has made this game one of the Trojans really look for a long time.
Well, Oregon's manifesting some pretty good rivalries. They've got a pretty good one going to Washington, and now they got the Trojans all stirred up. And here's Smith carrying, and he picks up almost 10 yards on the play before Almond brings him down.
The main asset for SC's defense is speed, sideline to sideline. But Oregon feels that they can run left side against the Trojan defense, left side of the Oregon offense, with this straight-ahead running game. Ontario's got good vision. Look how quick his feet are. And then at the end, he adds the punctuation mark to Marcel Almond.
Yeah, Marcel might remember that. Pretty good thump. 2nd down and 1. Go long. Going long. It's caught by Willis. And Willis is run out of bounds at about the 27-yard line. I think that Willis was the second receiver on that pattern. They had Howry going deep.
You're right.
Broke open, and he got the ball.
You're right, Keith. Howry going deep clears it out. Look at the time that Fife had to throw. It puts the ball right on the face mask of Willis. Troy Polamalu trying to punch that ball loose.
Ducks have a first down at the Southern California 26-yard line. Shotgun for Fife. Oh, that's a little risky. He threw the ball at Willis, and there were two Trojans right there.
He's only thrown 2 interceptions all year. That one should have been his third, but I think he realized when to let it go to let it sail high. But this SC defense, number 1 in 3 categories in the Pac-10. Very difficult because of their scheme. Pete Carroll is an excellent defensive coach. And their speed and quickness.
Ball given to Smith. Polamalu, trailing on the play, is able to get him by the hip bucket and bring him down. So it'll be 3rd down and 7. Now, here's the follow-up on a lot of talk going on about whether or not college football should use the instant replay for officiating. If you want to vote and argue with it, ESPN.com, keyword ABC Sports. So have at it, and we'll see what your reactions are, and we'll tell you about it a little later, and probably have an opinion of our own.
You think so, huh?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'll tell you right now, I don't think so. Ball is thrown hard, and it's incomplete to George Wrighster. Balls played by humans ought to be officiated by humans.
Couldn't agree with you more, Keith, and it would never happen in college football. There's just too many games.
Yep.
You got to broadcast them all.
Yeah, too many teams don't have television coverage, and you'd have to have it in order to have instant replay. And while our television coverage is pretty good, it is not foolproof.
Yeah, and don't let us influence your vote, though. Get out there and vote.
Yeah, go vote.
Vote often.
Jared Siegel will hit this from right about the 31-yard line, a 41-yard field goal try, and he's got 11 in a row. How about that? 11 consecutive field goals for Jared Siegel.
His only miss on the year was a blocked field goal from 48 yards out. This is a great backdrop to kick in, too. Stands are very, very close. The goalposts stand out. Give the kicker the feeling he's dropping a 9-iron onto the green.
So Siegel's kick will bring the Ducks within 1 point at 2:57 to go in the first quarter. 14-13 Trojans. Shadows will be all over the field in a few minutes as the sun goes toward the horizon.
George Wright's catch for the touchdown of the 3rd quarter went for 50 yards. Your play of the game from last week's game with the Sun Devils.
But I really like what they've done to the stadium, don't you?
Keith, it is remarkable. I played here 30-odd years or so ago when they built the stadium for $2.5 million back in 1966. It is a gem.
First time I came to Autzen Stadium, right after they had built it, we were going to do a game with Colorado. The Astra had a strike, and I wound up sitting in the stands. Ball's on the 35-yard line now. Siegel will kick it off. And this time he hits it pretty deep. Back to about the 7 for Almond. Marcel Almond's a former wide receiver, a track man, and he can haul it. He comes back out to about the 35-yard line. Monday night at 8 Pacific time, Donovan McNabb and the Philadelphia Eagles will go against the New York Giants, led by the big defender, Michael Strahan. And you're invited to cast your vote for Monday Night Football's greatest game at ESPN.com. Keyword MNF500 or NFL.com. I don't know if I'm all entranced with that business of having my laptop on my lap while I'm watching a football game. Do you do it?
No way. I don't want to spill anything on it.
Yes, Mike Williams. Tapping the ball to the 49-yard line on the Oregon side of the field. And here's Dan's plan.
I think SC's got to get a complete game from Carson Palmer. He's got to shake the devils that have bothered him here at this stadium. And we're seeing some of this offense. Run a little, dink the ball there, and then throw the bomb. And then on defense, they got to keep an eye on the O-zone. The O-zone being the leading rusher in the Pac-10, Onterrio Smith for the Ducks.
Williams now 5 catches, 97 yards and a touchdown, so he's off and running to another big day. Trojans are leading 14-13, 2.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. And over the left side goes Justin Fargas.
Keith, this is SC's third possession of the day. They've scored touchdowns on their first 2. Oregon has had 3 possessions, 2 field goals and a touchdown. Again, if you're a punter, you may be an endangered species this afternoon.
They'll be looking second down and 8 now. The ball at the 47-yard line on the Oregon side. And the Trojans will have double wide at the top of the screen. Number 83, Colbert's down at the bottom. And Carson Palmer looks first at Colbert, then goes down the sidelines. Looking for him, and he caught it. The Oregon defenders lost sight of the ball, and Colbert picked their pocket. He beat Lewis and Moore both at the 5-yard line.
Keith Lewis had a best shot at the interception, had position on Colbert deep. He looked back for the ball, and the ball continued to sail. Watch Lewis right here. Watch his head. Right there, that little peak there cost him the speed. And a little shove off there by Keary. Colbert, he gets away with it, and the Trojans have it at the 5. Great throw by Palmer. Tight spiral. This ball will carry a long way, all the way to the hands of Keary Colbert.
And it's first and goal, Trojans at the Oregon 5-yard line. Palmer back throwing on first and goal. Fires a bullet. It's intercepted. Intercepted by Rasuli. Webster on the ricochet. And they are turned away.
David Moretti with the ricochet, Keith. Middle linebacker dropping back into the middle of the field. Palmer tried to force the ball to his receiver. Moretti tipped it up in the air. Rasuli Webster is over his injury and comes away with the pick. A big play for the Oregon secondary, and a secondary that needed a big play. Here's Moretti right here. Here's Webster right there. Watch Palmer try to force the ball into the secondary. 2 men in front. Moretti knocks it over to his buddy. Here's Moretti. Watch it. He breaks on the tight end Holmes for the play.
And back goes Fife. Want to go deep with it? No. They go to the sideline with it to Sammy Parker. And Parker's got it out beyond the 30-yard line and the first down, beating Darrell Rideaux on the play.
I talked with Andy Ludwig, the offensive coordinator for Oregon today, the other day, and he said that it's important for Oregon to run the ball well, to force SC to bring Polamalu up. So they have 8 men crowding the line of scrimmage. That will give Oregon a favorable matchup in the secondary. Remember, Marcel Almond only making his second start as a corner for SC.
And getting Webster back from that wicked hit was a break for the Ducks. Here comes Onterrio Smith. And it's Pollard, Mike Pollard, tracking him down. Mike didn't take him down, but he took away all the momentum and got help from his buddies.
So we talked about at the top of the show how the SC's defense has been so effective. Chris Brown's the #1 rusher in the country, averaging 165 yards per game. You can see what the Trojans did to him, as well as Steven Jackson and Carnell Cadillac Williams.
And that's the 11th time in close to 200 carries now Onterrio Smith has been stopped for a loss. Don't see it very often. On second down and 12. And Fife is out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. Let us bounce across the country and spend a moment with John Saunders.
Penn State against Ohio. Maurice Clarett, the outstanding freshman running back for the Buckeyes, injured his shoulder and is out of the game. 7-0 Nittany Lions.
This might be the day for the Bucks to fall. A lot of people felt that. It'll be third down and 4 now for Oregon, with 3 wideouts. Fife, 2-step drop, whistles it. Howry makes the catch. First down, move the chains to midfield.
You know, Keith, he whistled it. There's no question about that. threw it hard, and Howry had to reach out in front. This is a tough catch. Watch as he reaches out. Number 43 is coming his way. Great catch by Howry. He just knows that big collision's coming from Troy Polamalu.
Midfield first down for the Ducks. 14-13 after dodging the bullet when the Trojans had it. First and goal on the 5. Down the middle it goes, and it is Sammy Parker coming across to make the catch at the 31-yard line. I thought the ball might have been intended for the deep man who had broken free.
Oh, come on, Keith. No way. He had him all the way. The guy that caught the ball is who the ball was intended for.
Right.
That's part of the quarterback's union. Here's number 1, Sammy Parker, Ducks leading receiver with 32 coming into the game. Watch him stretch out there and perhaps steal the ball from Keenan Howry.
Yeah, Keenan had separated. You're right. I don't know about that. He had his choice, didn't he? We played a quarter at Autzen Stadium in Eugene, and it's been a cracking good one. After 1, Southern California 14, Oregon 13. We had quite a first quarter. 27 points, 372 total yards, no punt, and a big interception by Oregon in the end zone. On first down, from about the 31-yard line, Onterrio Smith may not have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. Close.
Well, everybody up here knows that Oregon begins with O being Onterrio Smith, but he's doing on special teams. He's got 93 yards in kickoff returns so far, and on defense, it's time to load the other box for Oregon. Instead of getting 8 men up to rush the passer and stop the run, they need to pay more attention to stopping the pass.
Nobody behind Fife. Amundsen coming out of the backfield becomes a receiver. Fife throws the ball. Incomplete. He had his man. He hit Sammy Parker with it, but DeShaun Hill arrived at about the same time and separated man and ball.
DeShaun Hill's a pretty good hitter at that weak safety spot, and that is what caused that incompletion. His big explosion as he arrives at just about the same time the ball does.
Seven DBs now. As Fife comes back trying to set up the screen, and it's incomplete, intended for Onterrio Smith, and Smith never had the handle, and as a result the pass is incomplete.
And it may be bad news right here. Troy Polamalu came in with a high ankle sprain. Right ankle is limping on that ankle right there. You can see the brace. He broke up that play, sniffed it out, forced the incompletion, but at what cost for the Trojans?
So on fourth down, we're going to get another field goal try from Jared Siegel. It'll be a 48-yard try. His first one of the year was from this distance. It was blocked. Since then, he's had 11 in a row. This one's away clean and long and good. 12 in a row. Wow. And Oregon is back to the lead, 16-14. So we've had 4 lead changes in the ball game, and one more word of caution: go get some more chalk. There's Troy Polamalu walking around with that sore leg, high ankle sprain. Here's how it happened.
Well, as he comes up on Onterrio, watch his right leg. It appears that he got kicked by Onterrio Smith right on that right ankle. And that's right where that sprain is, on the inside high.
And the Ducks kicking off. Siegel, who's 12 for 12 now, and he's kicked 3 today, all of them from outside 40 yards. He had 44, 41, and 48. And that ball will come out to the 20, first down. ABC Sports presentation to college football brought to you by Chrysler. Drive equals love. Circuit. Casanova Center, named for our old friend, great coach, great gentleman, Len Casanova, that we lost last month. Justin Fargas carries for Southern California. And the Ducks' defensive front has held up pretty well so far today.
That's really the first positive type of play from a defensive lineman as junior CFE just stopped Fargas cold.
Remember, you've got a freshman and a sophomore. Number 96 is a true freshman, Haloti Ngata. Igor Olshansky is a sophomore and just learned to play football when he came to this country from the Ukraine at high school age. Second down and 8 from the 22, and here comes the Oregon fans crowd. Carson Palmer sets up, trouble, sack, 15-yard line. Number 39, Kevin Mitchell, was the first man there. Then help came from Igor Olshansky, number 53.
Well, they moved Olshansky out to defensive end, where he's played a little bit this year, but it's the speed of Kevin Mitchell. Here's Olshansky, number 53, playing at defensive end. But watch Mitchell come out of nowhere and grab the right arm of Carson Palmer and take him down.
Nick Haloti, the defensive coordinator for the Oregon Ducks, shuffling his cards.
Sticking to his guns philosophically.
Third down and 15. Palmer with more trouble. Sacked back at the 6-7-yard line. Kevin Mitchell again.
And Keith, that was a three-man route for the Trojans, so the secondary playing man-to-man on the last two plays as the Ducks bring pressure against Palmer. This young secondary is now gaining some confidence and guarding these great Trojan receivers a lot more closely.
And we get the first punt of the ball game from Tom Malone standing in his end zone. He'll kick it from about a yard deep. He's standing back about 5 right now. Keenan Howry is the man waiting for it. And Howry is explosive. Special teams for Oregon, pretty good. It's a very good punt by Malone. And Howry, penalty flag. They violated the halo. And Howry comes back to the Southern California 47-yard line. Darrell Rideaux got too close to him. You got to give him a 6-foot area, a halo around the receiver on the punt, and he didn't do it.
And Keith, actually, in that reality, that 6-foot halo is about 9 feet, maybe 10 feet, because the defender has to break down before he gets there. And that's what Rideaux did not do that time. He ran right up to the feet and skid in front of Keenan Howry.
Penalty indicated against USC.
Howry is so good, knowing he's got time to make this catch. There he is, well within the 2-yard or 6-foot halo.
Troy Polamalu, incidentally, is back out there.
On the kicking team, violation of the 2-yard cone, 10 yards from the spot of foul, first down.
Used to be 5 yards, and now it's a 10-yard penalty, and they're going to take the penalty, which will give them a couple of more yards in field position. On first down from the 47-yard line, they run it over the left side, and not anything out of that one, I don't think. I was going to say, but we didn't get back in time, that Onterrio Smith is 47 yards away from 1,000 yards for the season. The ball was on the 47, but it is now second down and 10, and it's still on the 47.
So what are you trying to say?
I don't know.
Second down.
I think I know. Fife throws badly. No, he didn't either. Jason Willis caught it. I thought he had thrown it behind him.
Well, it's a double slant route, Keith. He did throw it behind the guy, but that was the inside receiver. And Willis was the outside receiver.
I can't watch all these rabbits running around.
They are. There goes Howry. He's the guy that you thought the ball was thrown behind. And even Fife and Howry had a conversation after this play. But that was a good choice there, going to Jason Willis against the other number 8, Marcel Allman.
Got him a first down at the 30-yard line. Fife keeps it, throws it, caught by Wrighster, and George Wrighster, the big tight end, makes a fine catch down at the 13-yard line. Boy, Fife threw it well, and Wrighster really gobbled it up.
Yeah, I kind of like hot quarterback play. Both quarterbacks have now thrown for 177 yards in this game. We got 10 minutes to go here in the first half. There's a great throw by Fife under pressure from Allman, and then Wrighster as a tight end, 6'3", 250, showing the hands of a wide receiver.
And it's first down from the 13 as Howry goes in motion, and it's pitched out to Smith. Smith getting fresh behind the line of scrimmage. 3 people, and they don't get him. And he turned a loss into a gain inside the 10-yard line.
Keith, this is incredible. The Trojans were lined up 1, 2, 3. They knew the play was coming. They were out in space. They had him trapped, and he made a miss. All 3 of them. Grootegoed, Pollard, they both go down. Now Polamalu, he misses. That's an incredible run by Onterrio Smith.
Turned a 4- or 5-yard loss into a 4-yard gain.
And embarrassed 3 of the best tacklers on SC's team.
First time out of the
And we've got a timeout call by Southern California with 9 minutes and 54 seconds to play in the first half. It's a 14-16 ball game. The Ducks have the lead by 2, and they are knocking on the door again. Aflac trivia question. This week's question is, which 2 former Oregon assistant coaches went on to become head coaches at Southern California?
And coached the Trojans to national titles. Each
Both of them.
Yeah.
In fact, one of them still holds the per carry average record for rushing the ball at Oregon.
6.1 yards per carry.
Yep. Second down and 6. Smith spinning in the middle, close to the 5. Well, I'll tell you what, you just don't know where his handle is. He moves it around.
Yeah, you always hear that term about pinballing. Well, this is a pretty good example of it. He does not give you a target that's stationary, that's for sure.
At the 6-yard line, where it's 3rd down and 3 for Oregon. This might be a pretty good sized play in the whole scheme of things. Fife wants to throw it and can't do it. He is sacked. Taken down by Doyle Butler. Doyle Butler. Doyle, senior out of Tucson, put him on his back.
Yeah, Ed Ogeron, the defensive line coach, calls this their cheetah package, as in the wild animal, because they're so much faster. When you bring in Butler, a former tight end, you add a lot of speed to that defensive line, and that was a screen pass set up there that Butler was all in the middle of.
When you got a chance for points, take the points. So here's Jared Siegel for the field goal try. And he made it, squeezed it in from 31 yards. So he's now 4 for 4 on the day, and 13 out of 13 since having that first one blocked this season. Oh, he's ringing up some numbers, isn't he?
Well, in Oregon, offensively, are just not letting up at all. 5 possessions, 5 scores.
Well, didn't Mike pretty much say that we might get into a situation where we got to try to outscore them?
Well, when your defense is as secondary is as porous as the Ducks have been the last 2 weeks, you've got to outscore them.
And it's right now 19-14, Oregon leading at 8.5 minutes to go in the first half.
We talked about this is our Pacific Life game summary about how the quarterbacks are off to a pretty good afternoon. And so is the place kicker for Oregon, Jared Siegel. But the key to that last drive for Oregon, they got the short field position because of the 2 sacks by Kevin Mitchell, and then the halo violation by Darrell Rideaux on Keenan Howry.
A bright postcard afternoon in Eugene, Oregon at Autzen Stadium, and the Ducks will now kick it off to the Trojans. Going toward the sidelines and out of bounds, and Southern California will get a break here as they can have it out of the 35-yard line. First down.
And that's Siegel's first mistake of the afternoon. He's been kicking off with a variety, either short or long. At that time, trying to directional kickoff. That's the danger there. You kick it out of bounds, and the
Kick out of bounds on a free kick by the kicking team. The penalty is accepted. The ball be cleared on the 35-yard line.
Coming up on the Capital One halftime show, John Saunders, Terry Bowden, highlights, analysis with Penn State, and Iowa jumped all over Michigan, so there's a lot to talk about. Palmer throws it underneath. Ball caught by MacKenzie out of the backfield, and Malaefou's up for a first down at about the 46-yard line.
And that's part of the dink and dunk pass offense of Norm Chow. Move people around, create mismatches, create a flood of the zone as they did that time with MacKenzie being the short receiver. Palmer having time to get it to him.
Now you get something different as MacKenzie comes out of the ball game. Fargas is a single back. Kareem Kelly is in. Mike Williams is in, and Kerry Colbert's in. Those are the three wideouts. And here's a flag. Umpire in the middle. The linesman threw it, however, from across the way. He threw it, the umpire threw it, everybody threw it.
I think they hadn't moved the chains, Keith.
There's no penalty. It's a first down.
Take a look at our Chrysler passing playbook. 42-yard pass to Kerry Colbert. Here is Keith Lewis trying to double team Colbert as the wide receiver. Stephen Moore is number 4. They got good position, but this is a wonderful throw. A timely push off by Colbert and 42 yards. But the Trojans did not capitalize. And the very next play, Carson Palmer threw an interception.
So at 8:09 to go in the first half now. Here we come back to the ball for the first down play at the 46-yard line. Trojans on their own side of the field. And handed off to Fargas. Bounces outside. And he's tracked down by David Moretti. He's got about 6-7 yards on the carry.
And Fargas shows that he can be a cutback runner as well, as he started off to the left side and then comes back over here, and he's going to make a very good tackler, Kevin Mitchell, look foolish.
Well, he was a California State sprint champion in high school. He went off to Michigan, got hurt badly back there, finally wound up coming back home, sat out a year, transferring to USC, and getting to play now. Second down, call it 4. Palmer back. Throws it. Ball is caught by Greg Gunther. Gunther is a big old tight end at 6'8", 240 pounds. He's only a sophomore. And that'll be another first down for USC.
And only his 5th catch of the year. But when you've got a 6'6" quarterback throwing to a 6'8" tight end, you're throwing in a different ballpark. Especially when so many of these defensive backs are under 6 feet tall.
Need step ladders. Or axe handles.
The butterfly nets.
Palmer gives to Fargas, and just boom, over the right side he goes. And here's John Saunders from Times Square Stadium.
Keith, Georgia and Kentucky. Georgia unbeaten on the year, but down 17-14. David Green, perfect pass to Terrence Edwards, who leaps for the catch. And Georgia grabs their first lead of this game, 21-17 over Kentucky. Keith.
Dogs have historically had a hard time up at Lexington. Kentucky gives them a hard time every year, too. On second down and 7. It's Mike Williams. Fumbles the football.
Pass is complete to Mike Williams.
And Trojans keep it.
Keith, this is the second time they've run this play. The wide receiver screen. Second time that left guard Lenny Vandermeer has gotten out in front. He comes to the inside, does Williams. There's the block by Vandermeer, 78, and there's the gap. Now from behind, Binns comes in. Marcus Binns pops it loose, but the Trojans lucky enough to pick it up.
Yeah, Kareem Kelly covered it. Williams was looking to his right, and Binns hit him from the left side. Mike never saw it. He almost lost the ball. It is, however, a first down. At the 17-yard line, they'll run it with Fargas over the left side, and Moretti is hanging on to him as he gets it to the 12, and here's Todd.
For Carson Palmer. Autzen Stadium has not been good to Carson. As a freshman, losing 17-13. In 1999, he broke his collarbone on a play when he was going for the sideline. In 2001, it was a last-second field goal that did Palmer in and the Trojans, but he looks today like he's really exercising those demons. In fact, he said it's a fun place to play. Keith?
Yeah, right. Told me he gets a headache up here. This is MacKenzie, and he almost popped that thing. Malaefou slipped the first tackler and then got inside the 10 and was a half a stride away from sticking it in the end zone. Kevin Mitchell on the defense for Oregon.
Palmer now has 5 career touchdowns against the Ducks, but 6 interceptions.
They want to measure, I think, see whether or not it's a first down.
Kansas State 13, Baylor 3, Penn State 7, Ohio State 3 in the second quarter.
Incidentally, in that Ohio State-Penn State game, Claret, the freshman running back for Ohio State's out of the ball game. Injury. That's a first down for USC. Washington State and Arizona State are both playing in the Pac-10 tonight. Both those games in Arizona, with the Washington State down at Tucson against the Wildcats and Arizona State at home against the Bears. First and goal from the 7-yard line for USC. A chance to regain the lead. Oregon 19, Southern California 14. Malaefou MacKenzie and Justin Fargas in the backfield. It's Williams. Colbert goes in motion. Pitch it to Fargas. To the 4.
Justin Fargas carries to the 4-yard line.
He has just great explosion at the point of attack. He met 2 Ducks, split the 2 Duck tacklers, and just dove forward to pick up this yardage. These are the hard yards in football. Just ripped through a couple of tacklers there.
Trojans take a timeout. They have 1 remaining. You've got 4:16 to play in the first half, and Oregon leading 19-14, but the Trojans threatening. Ball is just inside the 4-yard hash mark. Territory owned by the Oregon Ducks, but the ball is owned by USC. And it's second down and goal as Palmer gives to Fargas. He goes straight over the right side behind the guard. And he gets to about, well, he's close to the 1.
That type of running, that will, the way he hits the hole so quickly, so fast, with so much power, that forces his offensive line to come off the line of scrimmage in the same fashion, to come off hard. You can see Katnick clearing the way that time, but Fargas is going to either pound into the back of his offensive lineman or get in the end zone.
Only Ngata kept him out of the end zone on that play. MacKenzie, boy, they eat him up. Malaefou MacKenzie never got started as he took the deep back position, and Olshansky was the first Duck to get there, and they stuffed him back on the 5.
Keith, this play call is incredible. They've been going right at the Trojans. This is a draw play. They're going to try to make the Ducks think they're throwing the ball. Well, they've been killing the Ducks up front, just going with power with Fargas. Olshansky smelled out that draw.
And here is Ryan Killeen in the ball game for a field goal try. They'll put it down from the 12-yard line. It is blocked by Ngata. And Oregon has held. That's the second time in this first half that Southern California has had a first and goal and got nothing out of it.
6'4", about 345 pounds or so. 18-year-old Haloti Ngata with another block kick. He blocked an extra point against UCLA that turned out to be the difference in a 31-30 game. Watch Ngata Number 96, right, I got to draw a big circle to get him in there. Watch the push here as he goes right by Vandermeer and gets his left hand up to stuff that ball off the foot of Killeen. And Norm Chow can't believe it. Too much power. Why don't they put Ngata at fullback like the old French? He could clear out some people.
Well, I heard you say that to Neil Zambucas yesterday, and I think his eyebrows went up at that. Here's Onterrio Smith breaking over the left side. And he'll get it out, get a little daylight behind their back as Mike Pollard brought him down. Gained about 5.
Keith, SC is going to look back at their last 2 possessions when they had 1st and goal at the 5 and then 1st and goal at the 7 and then failed to get any points.
And they had the ball for a long time both times. When you're sitting there holding the ball for 4.5 minutes.
And yeah, and especially when the other team is scoring every time they've got the ball. Got to keep pace.
Here's Smith spinning.
Oh, he stuffed it. Wow. I mean, he was all the way at the bottom of the box. And suddenly he comes spinning out of there and goes down the sideline for a big game. And here's a penalty flag that may add to it. This was after Onterrio Smith was knocked out of bounds. 2 flags come flying.
Oh, it's on Oregon. Goes the t'other way.
You know, on this run, Keith, it looked like Onterrio Smith missed a huge hole off the right side. But he kept his wits about himself and found something over the left side. Watch, he's going to hit right in here, but Mike Pollard is right there, so he sees Pollard
Personal foul after
and then jumps out to the left.
Against the offense, the 15 yards. First down.
So that penalty wipes out a spectacular run by Onterrio Smith. Dumb penalty, too. Happened in the middle of the field, and Smith was on the sideline.
But it's still a first down.
First down, and the Ducks have 3 timeouts to use here.
At 2:02 to go in the first half. Ball rests at just outside the 26-yard line. Oregon leading 19-14. Fife. Rideaux's after him and got him. Darrell Rideaux came sprinting in and almost missed Fife, but he, on the way down to the ground, got enough of him.
He is so fast. He's one of those track stars for SC. That's his first sack of the year, and couldn't have come at a better time for the Trojans.
Puts the ball back on the 13-yard line, so the loss is 14 yards.
And that changes the entire scene here. Oregon now may think about just running the clock out and getting to the locker room with a 5-point lead.
Second down and 24 now. Clock running at 1:15, and they pitch it out to Smith. He gave him a leg, took it away, and finally goes down at about the 18-yard line. Well, we asked you the Aflac trivia question a little while ago. It's been a while. We may have forgotten it. Which 2 former Oregon assistant coaches went on to become head coaches at USC? And the answer is one of them is a record holder here. Average per carry, 6.1 yards per carry, and what was it, 48 and 49? John McKay. And the other, of course, John Robinson.
And Keith, John Robinson was my offensive coordinator when we were working together here for the Ducks. And before Robbie went down to SC and became such a renowned running coach with all those great tailbacks, he taught me how to throw the heck out of the ball here at Eugene.
Last timeout.
You're watching ABC Sports Championship Television. 33 seconds to go in the first half.
Employees invited to contact the UO Career Center.
We're near halftime in this battle between the Southern California Trojans and the homestanding Oregon Ducks, with Oregon leading 19-14. Southern California's had 2 opportunities to score from 1st and goal in this first half, and twice they've come away empty. Oregon intercepted one and then stuffed the field goal, blocked it. And the Ducks have the ball on third down play here. They'll run it with Smith trying to get outside and can't do it as Matt Grootegoed makes the tackle on it. And they'll be forced to punt now. And the clock will roll right along as we all head for the clubhouse at halftime. 19-14 the Ducks. Both these teams have a conference loss. You lose 2 and it doesn't figure you're going to be in the hunt for the Rose Bowl. There are 2 of the undefeated teams in conference play playing tonight. Washington State down at Arizona, and Washington against the Arizona State Sun Devils, who won a dramatic ball game here last week, 45-42. The halftime is here now, and it's Oregon 19, Southern California 14. And here's Todd Harris now with Coach Mike Bellotti of Oregon.
Well, coaching you being a shootout, how you're feeling about your defense right now?
Well, I feel good about our defense. Unfortunately, we contributed to our demise with a couple of penalties that helped them out big time in a couple of plays. But I think we're playing with great heart and great courage. You know, we haven't punted this half, and that's good. I'm a little frustrated when you get a chance to try to put a score on the board at the end, but we can't trade touchdowns for field goals. We got to make sure we put it in the end zone.
You knew they'd go after your defensive backs. It's a bend, not break situation.
Well, absolutely. We talked a lot about it. You know, nothing over our heads, and we're playing tough. I like our attitude of our kids.
Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
All right. That's where we are at 19-14. Oregon holding the lead. And we're going to join John Saunders and Terry Bowden now.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. And some advice from here in New York from my partner, Terry Bowden. Tell your dad, Bobby, to bench Chris Ricks, to play McPherson, the backup, and tell Jeff, who's the offensive coordinator, and your brother that he's grounded. Also, thanks for ruining my trip to New York. They hang that on you.
The guy could have gone to Tallahassee if you want a bad day, or Clemson Thursday night. This is a pretty good time. I didn't lose any ball games here.
All right, then. Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, if you haven't figured it out by now by that sign, they handed it to Florida State, and Tyrone Willingham just continues to build a legend there. First play from scrimmage, Carlisle Haloti coming out, and he fools everyone. Arnaz Battle wide open, and that is a touchdown. The Irish on top, 7-0. Florida State would march it back, and it was a 10-10 game at halftime. But at 13-10, Chris Ricks runs, hit by Glenn Early, fumbles. Duck picks it up and recovers it at the 2-yard line, and that would set up yet another touchdown. The next play, Ryan Grant, another great run there. It looked like he was going to be caught in the backfield, weaves his way in, 20-10. Then, after a fumble on the kickoff, 3 plays later, Carlisle Haloti again, this time to Omar Jenkins, 27-10. And it winds up being 34-24, not as close as this score is. Florida State got some points near the end of the game, but anyone who doubts that this team is for real, guess what? You need to have your head examined. This is a great football team.
I tell you, it's not about luck of the Irish either. You know, we heard all season they don't have great talent. You know, we talked about this.
Yeah.
They've got talent, and they're greatly coached, incredibly coaching, and they do. It starts with the field position, then it goes to turnovers, and they turn those turnovers into points.
By the way, here's what's coming up. Boston College at home next week, at Navy in Baltimore, actually. Rutgers at home, then at USC. Don't be surprised if the Irish are unbeaten at the end of this season. Hard to believe. Back with more after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
John Saunders and Terry Bowden.
If pumpkins could only talk, we would be out of work. I mean, that's some terrific carving going on. That looks exactly like you. It doesn't look anything like me, I don't think.
A little round face. Pumpkin face, I've heard it called pumpkin face.
All right, the second half is still to come. The Ohio State Buckeyes looking to remain unbeaten, facing Penn State. Penn State's never won in Columbus since they joined the Big Ten. They've been clobbered 135-28. Joe Paterno says we might get them this time, and they get a little help because Maurice Corrett had already gone over the 1,000-yard mark. He carries 8 yards in this one, but he hits the deck and hits the shoulder. They've been tender all year. He did not return to the game.
He's really attacked Ohio State's defense, which was supposed to stop that running game.
Ohio State 3 fumbles today. They've lost 2 of them. And when you look at this one, the Ohio State Buckeyes in a bit of a quandary because Iowa won today against Michigan. They do not face each other this season.
I know, and they've got to come out strong in this second half, and they've always been real patient with their offense because of Maurice Corrett. He's always been one that come the second half, whether they're down or it's close, run the football, but now he's out. They threw an interception right before the half. You wonder if they'll change their game plan, open up a little bit in the second half.
Iowa State against Texas, and they had a couple of things in common. Bevo, remember, we lost to Oklahoma, 16 yards to Lance Young, 10-7, Iowa State with the lead.
and Iowa State's able to keep Seneca Wallace in the football game. Texas needs to stop him. He's had a touchdown pass. He's able to throw the ball and run the ball. When Seneca Wallace can make things happen, Iowa State's good. Texas, on the other end, they've got to keep Cedric Benson in this game. He scored a touchdown. They did throw screens to him, get the ball to him, because he's a great player that hadn't done much the last 2 games.
Texas with a streak going as well on the line, 16 straight at home. In the SEC, Georgia hoping to remain unbeaten, but facing the hefty lefty, Jared Lorenzen. 60 yards to Derek Abney. It's not very often that you have a couple of quarterbacks facing each other that are both left-handers, but we have that today. David Green has a couple of touchdown passes. DJ Shockley's gotten in there as well with a touchdown pass. But right now, Kentucky with the lead.
Well, Kentucky's got a great offense. This is just one of the best defenses in the country in Georgia. But I still got to question Georgia. They've had David Green at quarterback. He's doing a great job. All of a sudden, DJ Shockley gets help. They start rotating again. He now throws an interception. You're creating controversy when you don't need it.
And coaches don't like controversy, especially at the quarterback position. USC against Oregon. Oregon losing a week ago to drop from the ranks of the unbeaten. Jason Fife. You want to see a picture-perfect pass. Keenan Howry never has to break stride. It's right on the money, and Oregon had grabbed a 10-7 lead. But Carson Palmer has 2 touchdown passes. Oregon's won 5 of the last 6 against USC. And you see Palmer's numbers already over 200 yards, 19-14 to score there at halftime. Colorado, if they could ever figure out a way to get the season started, they stumbled early last year. They stumbled early this year. And now it's 6-2, 37-13. Robert Hodge with 2 touchdown passes. Chris Brown had a touchdown run. Some other scores. Wyoming with the lead over Air Force. Air Force hoping not to lose for the 2nd straight week. Kansas State is blowing out Baylor, 27-3 the score there. And Bowling Green, still unbeaten, had a big overtime win against Western Michigan a week ago. 21-3 is the score there as they hope to remain there. Stick around. We'll come back with more of the Capital One halftime show. And the Pumpkins are taking over when we return. Welcome back to New York and the Capital One halftime show. We are truly in the spirit of Halloween. John Saunders alongside of Terry Bowden. Now, the #1 team in the nation, the Miami Hurricanes. But coming off a game 2 weeks ago against Florida State where they were not impressive at all. They allowed the ball to be run. And today, facing West Virginia, Ken Dorsey would need all of his weapons because, yes, West Virginia running the ball 31 yards. Sets up a Quincy Wilson 1-yard touchdown run. Colbert also had a touchdown run in the game. Dorsey has to come back. 11 yards here to Andre Johnson. They missed the point after, so it remains a 7-point lead. Dorsey again, 58 yards to Kellen Winslow Jr. And he is wide open. Takes this one deep. And Willis McGahee from a yard out shows Miami can run the ball as well. Ken Dorsey, 22 of 36. 422 yards, 2 touchdowns. Those 422 yards, a career high. But Miami has to be concerned about the ability of other teams to run the football, Terry.
Well, they go into the Florida State game, they can run. They know West Virginia can run, but look the last 2 games here. They've given up more rushing yardage than the first 6 games. It's an incredible game. It's actually first 5 games, and so they have got to get better before they play Virginia Tech.
Almost 6 yards a carry. Now, Virginia Tech, you mentioned them. They actually squeaked this one out against Temple, and the Untouchables, Lee Suggs and Kevin Jones, did not have their usual great game. But Tech gets this win. Do you think they're licking their chops? This is a team that runs football as well as anyone in the nation. Virginia Tech is pointing to that game at the end of the season, says, we know we can run it right down their throats.
Wow, look at this West Virginia game where Miami knew they were going to run. The second half they knew they were going to run. They couldn't stop the running attack. Now, Virginia Tech comes in with a much more powerful running attack. Maybe not a more productive one, but it's more powerful, and they can run in the red zone. So this Virginia Tech team really has a chance to score points on Miami and maybe knock them off.
It's going to be interesting to end the season on ABC. Now, Michigan against Iowa, both unbeaten in the Big Ten. Brad Banks, the Iowa quarterback, says we got to get a win in the house. Well, they get some help. Marcus Curry fumbles this punt, muffs it. It's recovered by Iowa, and it sets up a touchdown. Banks to C.J. Jones just a couple of plays later. And then Jermel Lewis will go 5 yards here. This was just a powerful performance by Iowa. They dominated this game. Banks then 23 yards on the shovel pass to Lewis again. And not only do they win in the Big House, but they win big. Brad Banks, 18 of 29, 222 yards, and 3 touchdowns for Iowa, their first win against Michigan since 1990.
And they won big. This offense is so good. It's the best offense in the Big Ten, the way they play. But you know what? If you're going to stop Michigan, you've got to stop their running attack, and that's what they did. They held Michigan to 22 yards. Michigan does not have a good enough passing attack to win when they're held that low in the running game.
And keep in mind, Iowa does not face Ohio State this year, so that could be interesting at the end of the season. Ohio State does have to face against Michigan, of course. Trey Smith will score. Auburn absolutely blows them out. 31-7. That's the end of the 7-game conference win streak. Jason Campbell, 7 of 11, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Brown rushed for 95 yards.
Well, Cadillac Williams is gone, but they've got a new running back in Ronnie Brown. He had a great week last week. And again, Auburn worked their way back into the West Division championship hunt right now.
LSU, the defending champions, that's their first loss this season. This is the Capital One halftime show from New York City. Back with more in a moment.
On Halloween.
Welcome back. Nobody's ever won the Heisman Trophy out of the Mid-American Conference. That could change this year because of this big guy. Byron Leftwich, talking to Denaro Marriott, says, hey, we'll hook up a little bit later, but first I have to go to Darius Watts, who catches it on the fly. The ball is perfectly thrown, and he takes it to the end zone for a 13-0 lead. Then he spots Denaro Marriott, 8 yards on this touchdown pass. Leftwich, 29 of 42, 374 yards, 2 touchdowns. Randy Moss finished 4th in 1997. This guy's going to finish higher than that.
Just keep putting up the good stats. Let others play out of the game. Rex Grossman, he's out. Seneca Wallace, he's out. Just keep on putting up the stats.
We don't have a guy who's running away with this thing this year. It's a little bit strange. Right now, take you back out to the second half.
The Oregon band on the field at Autzen Stadium on this lovely afternoon in the Willamette Valley. Our halftime score is 19-14. Oregon leads Southern California. Back after this message and a word from our ABC station. And if it's anything like the first, we'll all be whooped when it's over.
You bet.
The Ducks will kick it off. The Trojans have the first offensive possession to start the second half of play. Siegel knocks the ball beyond the field of play, and it'll come out to the 21st down.
Our Pacific Life game summary is our halftime stats. Pretty even so far, except for the turnover, which led to a 3-point field goal by Jared Siegel. Remember the blocked field goal by Haloti Ngata. SC did not take advantage of 2 first-and-goal situations from inside their 10 on their last 2 offensive possessions of the first half.
So let's check the folks in the backfield from Southern California. It's where we started. McKenzie at the up back and Justin Fargas the tailback, with Carson Palmer standing up quickly and throwing to Kareem Kelly. And Kareem gets by the first man, the second man, the third man got him. The third man being Moretti. He got away from Bins. Now a moment with Todd Harris.
All right, Keith. Well, Pete Carroll summed it up really appropriately. He said, this is not a place you can make mistakes, and he had real 2 complaints. He said, first of all, we've got to start tackling better, and appropriately enough, the second mistake, number 2, he is giving them grief. He says, we've got to find out and account for number 2, Onterrio Smith, and not let him get in the end zone.
There are 4 wideouts on the field now for the Trojans. McKenzie, the single back. And his ball goes to Mike Williams, the wideout, the freshman, and he's going to pick up 4 yards on the play before Moretti gets another tackle.
Well, that was well defensed by Oregon by the linebacker Garrett Graham, number 42, but he missed the tackle. That play has been very productive for the Trojans in that first half. Williams went 35 yards with a touchdown, but number 42 out here has got Williams right there. If you stop him there, there's no gain. But Williams uses that move to pick up 4.
Ball is on the 44-yard line. Palmer gives to Fargas. 2 yards. 1 yard, that's all. Linesman put his foot down right on the 45-yard line.
Let's take a look at the SC touchdowns for the first half. This is Carson Palmer to Malaefou MacKenzie, 8 yards and a 7-3 Trojan lead. Here's that tight end, or that wide receiver screen, rather. 35 yards, Palmer to Mike Williams. That put SC up 14-10.
And it's 3rd down and 5 now. Palmer's pass. Good. Kelly, Kareem Kelly, making the catch under considerable duress. Marcus Benz, they picked on him all day, but the freshman from Los Angeles is hanging in.
They're going to get him for pass interference. Came over the top of Kelly. That was a remarkable catch by Kareem Kelly with Benz literally hanging on his back.
Against the defense, the spot and the completed pass at the same location. Penalty declined, first down.
Meaning no reason to accept the penalty because it would equal what was already gained.
Yep.
And besides that, Kareem thanks him because he gets credit for the catch and the yardage.
Funny how that works.
Yep. 46-yard line. Quick by Palmer. Now he's chased out of there. Oshansky after him. He throws, and on the run, Mike Williams pulls it in. Williams had some trouble early on this season making those kinds of catches. In the Kansas State ball game, he dropped a handful plus. Catches that could have made a difference in the game, but he's grown every week.
Talked about how the quarterbacks are having a good first half. Palmer is off to an excellent second half, but there's a penalty down on that play, so that'll nullify that completion, and that also that very veteran type of catch by Mike Williams as he now comes off the field limping.
Illegal man downfield. Against the offense. Penalty accepted. 5 yards. Repeat the first down.
See, that was supposed to be a quick bang-bang play, and then when Palmer couldn't find anybody to go bang first, he ran out of there, and in the process, the lineman released downfield.
And you can't really blame the offensive linemen. They're out there trying to protect their quarterback.
That's right. Williams getting attention on the sideline. Ball comes back to the 49 on the SC side of the field. And Palmer stands up, throws quickly again. This one goes to Keary Colbert. Colbert comes back inside and takes a lick, goes down at the 40-yard line. And here's John Saunders from time.
Keith, Zach Mills is struggling a little for Penn State. Here he's picked off by Chris Gamble, who takes this one 40 yards for the touchdown, does some weaving. He's just been picked off again. Zach Mills has been intercepted 4 times. And we're only 10:25 left in the third quarter. Keith.
Wrote, praised him too much. Too soon. Second down and 4. That's a long 4. Palmer goes to the right side to Malaefou MacKenzie, and Malaefou tiptoes past the marker out of bounds. First down, 35-yard line.
Ohio State's trying to do something no team has ever done. When the original BCS standings come out, no team has come from farther than 5th in the rankings to finish up here at the top.
And in case you're wondering, Ohio State and Iowa do not play each other this year in the Big Ten. See the numbers on the folks out here in the Pac-10 conference in the BCS standings. Much too early, however, to have much meaning. Mike Williams goes to the top of the screen. McKenzie coming this way, and Palmer pitches it back to Fargas. And Justin coming around the left corner is knocked out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
Put out by David Moretti after game 4.
Stephen Moore and David Moretti. Moretti's really been busy here in the second half.
Fans are booing. They think there was holding on the outside. Ducks do a good job of stringing Fargas out all the way to the sidelines. Perhaps Alex Holmes was holding on the play.
No question about it. But uncalled is not seen, and thus it doesn't come. Second down and 7. Palmer again, a quick drop, and then lets it go, and he's got a man. It's Kareem Kelly, touchdown. Just that quickly, the Trojans come storming in the third quarter to take the lead again at 20-19.
Double move route by Kareem Kelly, set up by a good pass protection and a nice pump fake by Carson Palmer. It's a slant and go, and it's gone. Kelly over Stephen Moore, easy touchdown for SC. Watch the slant route there, just a head fake. That gets the bite by Moore, and that gets SC 6.
And a perfect throw by Carson Palmer. Killeen's extra point try is blocked. ball was kicked low. Killeen covers it.
That's exactly what Pete Carroll just told Kennedy Pola. That's twice now. His last 2 kicks of Killeen have been low, and they've been blocked.
And Davis is still gimpy. That's the 5th lead change of the ball game. It's Trojans by 1.
Second block of the afternoon for Oregon is Igor Olshansky, but watch the push by Kevin Mitchell into Haloti Ngata. Left hand there on a very low kick from Ryan Killeen.
And it's a 1-point lead for Southern California as Killeen comes to kick it. Amundsen and Smith waiting to return it. Hanging kick at the 5-yard line. It's Smith. Whoa, he had a hole for a minute. Then he is caught from behind and brought down at the 30-yard line. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by H2, the Hummer like nothing else. Mark Amento and Kelly Hayes. Kelly's going to Philadelphia. Mark, you going with him?
He better.
My condolences. The ball is thrown down the sideline, just a fraction too deep. The pass in the air, hanging for a time for Sammy Parker to track down, and he was 1 stride shy.
And he was 2 strides behind the defender, though. Sammy Parker, whose number of touchdown catches this year, 6 so far, averaging over 40 yards on those touchdown receptions. That's your deep threat right there, number 1.
Second down and 10 at 11:19 to go in the 3rd quarter. Sun very bright from that one end of the field. And here's Smith trying to find some room, and the Trojans, Mike Pollard is hanging on to him, and Onterrio cannot get away. So he's going to lose. That's the 3rd time in this ball game now he's been stopped for a loss.
Yeah, that's what SC does so well. That defensive line gets penetration, and then their speed at the linebacker's position with Simmons, Grootegoed, and Pollard. And then, for good measure, you throw in Troy Polamalu, who does not happen to be out on the field right now.
He's been banged on that sore ankle a couple of times today.
Well, I'm mistaken. He's right there.
Jason Leach. He's out there right now, and the Trojans just swarm Fife. Darrell Rideaux on a corner blitz is the first man to get there with Nazell the second, and they bury him.
Onterrio Smith pass blocking on Polamalu, and that allowed Darrell Rideaux to come free.
Jose Arroyo is on the field now, and this will be the first punt of the game for Oregon. He never had a chance.
That was really a well-designed blitz by Pete Carroll.
Pete is his own defensive coordinator, incidentally. And the punt's out of there. Low liner. And it is fielded by Greg Gunter, freshman out of Woodland Hills, California. And there's a penalty flag down. I didn't think the halo was violated there.
I think it was a block in the back by Forrest Mozart.
You're right. Yep. Him again? He had a moment of glory in the Auburn game, if I remember.
Actually, Colorado.
Colorado.
Yes,
Colorado.
Yeah.
Illegal block in the back on the return, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
So that backs up the Trojans a bit. You've got time call, 9:49 to go 3rd quarter, and USC leads 20-19.
Days and earn 2 free nights. Call 1-888.
Southern California will possess the ball just outside their own 27-yard line. Those 3 big guys in the middle for Oregon, Olshansky, Ngata, and Valenzuela.
99.
I mean, they're all, well, Valenzuela's a mere 297. The other 2 guys are past 300. They've had a pretty good day. Carson Palmer sets him up now with Fargas, the deep man. Palmer stands, throws to Kareem Kelly. Got by the first man. Second man got him right along the sidelines. And here's Todd Harris.
This is the shoe of Haloti Ngata. Now, this is the shoe they sell in the store. This is the 16-5E. That's 5 extra wide. And they had to make this specially for him and mold the whole thing. Now, this is way too big for me to use, but I can use it for something else. A lunchbox. I can get a drink in there. I got a hot dog. And Halloween's coming, so I got some Halloween candy. So it's good for that. And 1 box per shoe. Keith.
Thought if you had an outboard motor on that thing, you'd ride it home. Palmer forcing a pass in traffic. Graham knocks it down for Oregon. He tried to stuff it into MacKenzie. It was that kind of a pass that was intercepted in the end zone in the first half that cost him a score.
Keith, since he threw that interception, he's hit 10 out of his last 11. But again, it's that feeling that you can get it in regardless of the coverage that almost cost him that time.
A stadium record crowd comes up to help the home team. It's 3rd down and 3 for SC. Palmer throwing. Gets it away. Incomplete. Intended for Mike Williams. Defended by Marcus Binns. He reached under his elbow and got a hand on it. The crowd today, as we said, a new stadium record crowd. We anticipated it would be, and it is, 56,754. Good on Oregon. Now Malone into punt, and Howry's waiting for it. Been a while since he's done anything spectacular. Almost blocked that thing. It's hanging up, and then goes out of bounds. So the pressure got him into it a little bit funny, and he didn't get a whole lot out of it. So they're going to mark it out of bounds just across midfield. Next Saturday, we'll have the showdown in the Pac-10 with the Sun Devils of Arizona State against Washington State. There'll be other regional action next Saturday at 12:30 Pacific here on ABC. Arizona State will be going to Pullman to play the Cougars.
Keith, I think Keith Lewis got a piece of that punt.
Looked like somebody got a hand on it.
Well, watch Keith Lewis's 2 hands here, and they'll separate. That gives you an indication that he did block it. Lewis is number 16. And watch his right hand go back. See the hands come apart. That means he hit the ball.
Ball got a funny spiral on it and only traveled 23 yards. And here comes Oregon's Onterrio Smith dancing at the line of scrimmage for a 1-yard pickup.
About a yard.
Matt Grootegoed is so tough. You know, you talk to the defensive coach of SC, and they use the term, well, he's a stud. And when you hear the word stud, you think about the name on the back of the jersey, or the back of the helmet, Marv Goo, and that was Marv's favorite term for his favorite players. Stud. That's a stud right there, Matt Grootegoed.
Onterrio Smith is now holding at 998 yards for the season, 2 yards shy of 1,000. And timeout called here by the Oregon Ducks. So they take it at 8:48 to go in the 3rd quarter, trailing by a point. Ball is on the 43-yard line, where it is 2nd down and 9 for the Oregon Ducks. They have not moved the ball with a whole lot of authority here in the last couple of possessions. Amundsen comes outside for the Ducks, leaving Smith the single back. Now Amundsen goes toward him, and Smith gets it, pops it over the right side, and the Trojans gang up on him and get him out of bounds. Just about midfield, and that's his 1,000 yards. He picked up on that play 6 yards. Close to it, and he's over 1,000.
Boy, and he earned it too. He had a couple of Trojans staring him right in the face there. Made a couple miss and picked up the necessary yardage to get over the magical 1,000-yard mark.
The only man who's done it faster in Oregon history was Bobby Moore, who played with you.
Somebody had to hand him the ball.
That's right. 1971, wasn't it?
Yep.
3rd down and 2. And the ball thrown to the sidelines to Keenan Howry. And there's a penalty flag following the play.
5 seconds to Keenan Howry out of bounds.
First down.
Yeah, he got a good mark there as he dove forward and got the ball. That's a pretty good mismatch there for Oregon if they can get Keenan Howry on the linebacker, Matt Grootegoed. Right here, number 6. That's your mismatch. They could have called Oregon for pass interference here because Darrell Rideaux was being blocked by a wide receiver when the ball was in the air.
Yes, he was. But, again, Fife gets it off and throws it a little bit too high for his tight end, Josh Rogers.
Fife really has good pocket presence. He seems to sense the pressure without panicking and then seems to slide up into the pocket where the void is and still get the pass away.
He picked a pretty good guy to throw it to, though. That Rogers weighs 247 pounds, and he was matched up against Darrell Rideaux, who is 175.
But unfortunately, those 260 pounds is connected to hands of a man that weighs 260.
That's right.
Not going to get up in the air and catch that one.
Second down and 10. This is Smith. And Onterrio is going to have 6 yards on the carry. And again, let's update with John Saunders.
Keith, as you heard Terry say at halftime, give the ball to Cedric Benson and get out of a touchdown run as Texas has regained the lead over Iowa State, 14-10. Keith.
Well, that's not terribly decisive, is it?
Not yet.
3rd and 3. Fife's pass. No good. Receiver had his hands on it, Wrighster, the tight end, but he couldn't reel it in as DeShaun Hill battled him. And the Ducks are going to punt it.
Again, Fife is going to force this one to his top 3rd down receiver, George Wrighster. Ball was out in front too much. Double coverage by SC with Pollard getting back to help.
Greg Carlson is the deep man now for the Trojans, and Jose Arroyo's in the punt. Arroyo kicked once today only. This is his second. His first one was good for 43. He gets a little more air under this one, trying to kill it deep, and he's kicked it into the end zone, and they couldn't keep it out. Sammy Parker trying to knock it back out. Couldn't do it. Comes out with the 20 for the Trojans, first down. Tomorrow, AB's end of the season classic. Road to the Tour Championship, presented by Coca-Cola. Tomorrow, here on ABC. Boy, they are knocking the flags out of the hole down in Atlanta, actually outside of Atlanta toward LaGrange, Pine Mountain. Ball thrown outside to Mike Williams, and Williams is slipped out of bounds at about the 29-yard line.
Keith, SC's scoring drive in the second half was all Carson Palmer as he went 6 for 6. Started it off with that little screen pass to Kareem Kelly. Got another ball to Kelly, very difficult catch, then to Keary Colbert. And finished it off with the first down conversion there. This is the finish off of the double move by Kelly for the score.
Trojans have been twice turned away from first and goal situations. This is Fargas going bang into the middle of the line, and his feet were taken away by Kevin Mitchell, who had the penetration. Kevin Mitchell, number 39, is only 5'11", 220 pounds. He comes out of Orange, California, but he plays bigger than that. Because a lot of the time you see him penetrating the line of scrimmage.
Norm Chow, offensive coordinator for the Trojans, called Kevin Mitchell a pain in the neck or thereabouts. He's all over the place. Have to account for number 39.
First and 10 now off that last play from the 31-yard line. Palmer with time goes deep. Williams is there. He's got the ball. He's down at the 15-yard line of Oregon. First down, Trojans. Threw the ball right over Ben.
And it's right along with their game plan. They run the ball, they dig a couple of short ones, and then it bombs away. You got to have time to throw, and Palmer is getting it from his offensive line now as Oregon is getting no pass rush. 4-man route, and Palmer really airs this one out. The double move again beats the freshman Marcus Binns. The freshman Mike Williams with another big catch.
54 yards on that play. He has 9 catches for 186 yards today and a touchdown. And MacKenzie goes in motion. Pitch it to Fargas. Cuts it back. And he is in the end zone for a touchdown. Justin Fargas, second touchdown of his Southern California football career. That looked like tailback you on that play.
Yeah. It was a missed tackle by Oregon linebacker Garrett Graham that allowed Fargas to speed into that end zone.
Killeen for the point. This one is in the air and good. So the Trojans get a little breathing room now. At 6:41 to go in the third quarter, they lead by 8, 27-19. 80 yards, 4 plays, 54 seconds, and that's the largest lead of the day.
Keith, it's the old student body right. MacKenzie out in front. He misses the block on Graham, who misses the tackle on Fargas, and the lane is all the way to the goal line. Fargas' second touchdown in 2 weeks, scored from 13 yards out last week in really garbage time against the Huskies. That one very important for SC this afternoon.
So now the Ducks are looking up. Mike Williams on the sidelines after that 54-yard play. He came off, and I saw the trainer go right to him, and you see they're rubbing his neck. Nice on him.
Now we've seen him limp off the field a couple of times, but he seems to be able to tough it out. 9 catches, as you said, Keith, for over a 20-yard average.
Here we'll kick it off. Oregon with Onterrio Smith and Alan Amundsen waiting for it. They don't mind kicking it to Onterrio. He takes it at the 11-yard line and pops out of the stack. And gets it out across the 35 to the 37-38. Dominique Bird brought him down as Southern California had just gone to the lead by 27-19 with 6.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. 2 losses in the conference, and you're pretty much out of the Rose Bowl race. At least that's historic. There have been instances, however, when people have won, teams have won 6 times. Teams have won or shared the conference championship with 2 losses. One occasion, 3 teams shared. Ball is thrown underneath to Matt Colbert, the fullback. And Matt can't get it cranked up and is going to lose a couple of yards as Grootegoed makes the tackle on him. Now they're going to give him a pretty good mark. Get him wind up a plus instead of a minus.
But minus has been the way Oregon's offense has operated here in the second half. SC's defense has penetrated the line of scrimmage, held Ontario in check pretty much, and kept Oregon off the board.
Getting some push from the defensive front in the third quarter. None this time. The ball he tried to force that in between defenders. Grootegoed dropped off from his outside linebacker position and got a hand on it and spoiled it. Jason Willis was the man for whom it was intended.
Grootegoed he's kind of like Oregon's Kevin Mitchell. He's only 5'11", 205 pounds, but very active. Watch him down at the bottom of the screen react to the slant route to Willis and almost come away with a pick.
Fife gets some heat. Has to throw on the run. And he underthrows Willis for an incomplete pass.
Yeah, that cheetah group, the fast defensive linemen, they put Van Brown in, they bring in Doyle Butler, and they're getting a lot better pass rush out of the front 4. Remember, Sean Cody is out for the year, just had surgery. 88 is Butler, And there's 99, Mike Patterson and Van Brown putting pressure on Fife.
And Arroyo is in for his third punt in the third quarter. He didn't punt at all in the first half. Greg Carlson waiting for it. That's not a very good punt. Kind of wobbles down the field. And a beanbag drop, but no flag. And he's taken down by Justin Fife, who's the hot man out of the kick coverage team for the Oregon Ducks. 40 yards and no return tonight. One of the great rivalries in college football, Alabama and Tennessee. They'll be in Knoxville. Used to play that game on the third Saturday in October. College football Saturday presented by the U.S. Postal Service tonight at 4:45 Pacific on ESPN. And Tennessee has never lost to Florida, Georgia, and Alabama in the same season. And now it's up to the Tide to step up. And here's the handoff to the deep man out of the backfield, Fargas, and Mitchell is right there. Bang, bang at the line of scrimmage. You know, on the third Saturday in October, Dan, in case you've never been there and nobody's ever seen it, as soon as we finish this, I'll tell you.
Well, Mitchell's number 39 there had 9 tackles in the first half. And that's a very solid one, and that's what Oregon's defense needs to get a few stops on Fargas so SC can't get single coverage on the outside.
Maybe I won't tell. Second down and 10. Palmer's pass good. Had a man breaking free, Colbert. And Keary Colbert will have another first down for USC. And the Trojans are taking control of the line of scrimmage right now. Balled out on the 35-yard line.
It's one of these bunch routes for SC. Here's Colbert right here. Going to come underneath. The other 2 receivers going up the field. Oregon late to react. Moretti sitting in a zone, but nobody on the outside zone.
Fargas. Boy, there's a lot of daylight up the middle. And they finally track him down at the 32-yard line on the Oregon side of the field.
Keith, you said that the offensive line is taking control, giving Palmer time to throw, and now they're creating huge holes for Justin Fargas as he gets his longest run as a Trojan. Right off the left side here for Justin. MacKenzie out in front with a good block. Great move there to get away from a good tackler in Webster. And now Justin Fargas is over 100 yards rushing.
Keith Lewis was the last man, and he got it. Sultan McCullough now comes in for the first time today at tailback. Fresh legs, great speed. He's got the ball, but he stops to have a look, and by then it's too late. Robbie Valenzuela jumps him.
And that's why he's sitting on the bench, and Justin Fargas is playing. You can't stop and wait for something to happen. You must make something happen, as he did against California 2 weeks ago when he carried the ball 39 times.
.345 remaining third quarter. 27-19, 8-point lead for USC. There's McCullough popping it open. And all the way down to the 15-yard line.
And that's more like it for Sultan. Saw the crease and did not hesitate.
He has some reasons to dig in and play some good football here because of his brother who played at University of Oregon, Saladin.
Yeah, you want to always go back and sit around that dinner table and say, yep, I got your boys up there in Eugene one time.
Fargas is back in, replacing McCullough, and he's the single back. Carson Palmer looks at Kelly, throws at Williams, and Williams takes it in the end zone for a touchdown. Boy, he's starting to make it look easy.
The entire offense is just dominating Oregon's defense now. They don't know where they're going to get hit next. Whether it's a quick trap up the middle with Fargas or Carson Palmer distributing the ball to all his receivers.
That's 10 catches now for Mike Williams and 2 touchdowns for 202 yards. 202 yards. Killeen for the point. Good.
And Oregon's getting burned when they play zone, when they get to play man-to-man. This time it's a zone coverage. And the safety, Keith Lewis, number 16, right here. Watch the receiver come in the middle there. Big Mike Williams, number 1, beats the zone coverage of Keith Lewis. There's the throw and the reaction by Carson Palmer.
That's 20 unanswered points by the Trojans.
Only one mistake for Carson Palmer today, and he certainly has made up for it with another 4-touchdown afternoon.
Never won here. Never beaten Oregon in his 4 years. But today, he's got a chance. It's 34-19, a 15-point lead. And this young man from Tampa, Florida, has stepped up again this week.
Had 3 touchdowns last week against UW.
Very short kick to the 25-yard line for Allen Amundsen. And the Trojan coverage will stop him after about 4 yards on the return. You look at the Pac-10 standing. The 2 undefeated teams are both playing tonight. Arizona State hosting Washington, and Washington State is at Arizona. 2 losses, you're gone pretty much out of the race to the Rose Bowl. Southern California right now looks like they might be in the catbird seat to remain in the hunt. And the Ducks could drop to 2-2 unless they stage a mighty comeback here in the next quarter. Plus 254.
Not going to be easy against this Trojan defense.
No, it is not.
Number 1 in the conference.
Onterrio Smith is a single back, trips at the top of the picture. 3 wideouts up there, and Fife looking to throw to one of them. Now throws it away. He was pretty close to an eligible receiver, so there's no grounding on the play. Wrighster was out there, and he sort of got it in his neighborhood.
It's one of those tales of 2 halves for Jason Fife. He's been pressured a lot here in the second half. That's why these numbers are so bad. He's been sacked 3 times on the afternoon, but since the Trojans have gone to a speedier pass rush, they've been able to pretty much control Onterrio Smith as well.
On 2nd and 10. Boy, Smith's going nowhere. Matt Grootegoed got him quickly.
No gain on the play.
Grootegoed was on a run blitz that time, recognized the hole just like a running back will do, shot the gap and brought Onterrio Smith down again. These 75 yards do not include his 144 yards on 5 kickoff returns.
3rd down and 10. Fife. Is that intercepted? Yes, it is. It's Melvin Simmons tracking the tight end, took the ball away from him and came up with the interception.
This ball hit Josh Rogers in the hands and then went behind him, and somehow Simmons is able to pick it off. It's incredible. The ball actually bounces off the backside of Rogers right into the hands of Simmons. Good throw by Fife. Just a horrible catch by Josh Rogers and an alert play by Melvin Simmons.
And the Trojans on the ball at the 46-yard line. As Palmer sets it up and goes deep on the first play. And he's got pass interference called down there as the receiver and the defender got tangled up. Rasuli, Webster, and Mike Williams. If Rasuli Webster doesn't fall, Williams takes the ball in the end zone for another touchdown. But in the falling, Webster tripped him.
And Norm Chow and the Trojans going right for the kill shot here. I'm not sure this ball would have been catchable. Perhaps so. The officials obviously thought so, or he wouldn't have thrown that flag. But Williams wasn't even expecting that ball down the field.
That's a 15-yard penalty in college football and a first down. Score from up the road in Corvallis in the third quarter. It's Oregon State 21 and California 10. California State here in Eugene last night. Jeff Tedford and his folks. Kind of a homecoming for Jeff because he was here for a long time as the offensive coordinator under Bellotti. First and 10, the ball at the 31-yard line. And there's that hard run by Fargas.
Justin Fargas carries to the 27.
Keith, talking about Jeff Tedford, former offensive coordinator here at Oregon. Talk about the story of the year along with Dirk Cutter at Arizona State in the Pac-10. But he's done it with great defense and senior leadership from Kyle Bowler to put the Bears back on the football map.
Second down and 5 coming up for USC. Palmer throws quickly to Williams. Williams bouncing outside to the sidelines. He is just missed on the corner and gets close to a first down as Keith Lewis was going after him, but he was late.
At some point, the officials have got to recognize this play and call the outside receiver for blocking while the ball is in the air. Both teams have used this play today. SC has used it very effectively. But watch Colbert on the outside here. Ball is in the air and he's blocking. That is not legal.
Ball is on the 22. Third and 1. Fargas, he got one.
Justin Fargas carries to the 20-yard line.
Matter of fact, he got 2.
He really made a sharp cut to pick it up, too, because he was going off the left guard of SC. Saw the hole develop over the right side and dove forward to pick up the first down. Great vision by Justin Fargas.
Getting pretty one-sided, isn't it? And they stick in the end zone here. They very definitely have control of things. From the 20, it's Fargas. Broke the tackle. Inside the 10. Down to the 7. He got out of Rasuli Webster's grasp. And it'll be first and goal, Southern California. At the 8-yard line is where the linesman on this side had his foot down.
How about determination? The stiff arm right there, keeping his balance, cutting back to the inside. I mean, Justin Fargas is showing all the moves, all the talent that he promised to show the Michigan fans coming out of high school. What a great homecoming, coming back to L.A. and finally having his chance and really paying it off.
Well, this time, Malaefou MacKenzie goes into the... Is that Malaefou? I think it was. No, it's Fargas, 25. So Fargas pops in there. Didn't get much out of that play. It's right about the line of scrimmage. We've played 3 quarters, and we'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station. The temperature has risen now to 59 degrees. You see the bright sun over the rim of the stadium and the score by quarters. And you can see that USC has outscored Oregon 20-0 in the third quarter. And they're down there knocking on the door again. It's second down and 8. Ball at the 8-yard line. Palmer puts it in the air for a fade to Mike Williams, and he can't reel it in.
Our Pacific Live game summary. Third quarter, all USC as Carson Palmer hits Kareem Kelly 31 yards out, made it 20-19. Then Justin Fargas, 15-yard dash to the end zone, 27-19. And then this strike over the middle of Mike Williams from 16 yards out. That's why SC has a 15-point lead. How about that?
Yep, that's why they got 20 points and Oregon none in the third quarter.
Offense and defense for SC.
Third down. Palmer has the afternoon to throw the ball. He throws it to MacKenzie. MacKenzie goes into the end zone for a touchdown.
Just like he did for the very first score of the afternoon, finding MacKenzie on a linebacker over the middle. The time to throw, Keith, as you said, was phenomenal. And again, MacKenzie gets in for his second touchdown reception today.
Yeah, the Trojans just have taken total control of the line of scrimmage there in the second half.
Yeah, both sides, offense and defense.
Yep. Point good. And we've got 14:50 to play in a ball game, and the Trojans are in the catbird seat, 41-19. There's Carson Palmer sitting there, surrounded by his catchers, and they've had a very big day. Colbert, Kelly, Williams, MacKenzie.
15 minutes and 10 seconds. Trojans scored 27 points.
And they lead 41-19. Oregon has just been stone silent lately. Here's a high, short kick. Ball hanging, taken at the 23-yard line by Amundsen. And Allen still pounding along. And it's on the SC side before they can get him down around the 46-yard line. Jason Leach finally made the tackle. ABC Sports presentation of college football. Well, everything's turned around since last week for Oregon. They lose 2 in a row, it looks like. This is Onterrio Smith going to the outside. He's tackled and thrown out of bounds down around the 41-yard line.
Onterrio Smith.
Palmer just 4 passing yards shy of tying his career high. His career high of 411 set last year here in Autzen Stadium. Wild ball game. There was one late by the Ducks.
And he's thrown 5 touchdown passes, which is a new career record for Carson Palmer.
It is 2nd down and 6 for the Ducks. Fife back, keep coming. Little shovel pass ahead to Whitehead. And Terrence Whitehead, the freshman out of Los Angeles. He is down to the 30, and that's a first down.
Oregon cannot afford to waste a lot of time either, trailing by 22. Kickoff return by Amundsen has given them some hope.
The Ducks have not conceded. It's just the facts of life are that they're playing the best defensive team in the conference.
And they have the worst defense in the conference right now.
Fife pass thrown behind the receiver. And incomplete, intended for George Wrighster.
Wrighster is a big target, and Fife likes to use him in the red zone as the Ducks are approaching. This ball just thrown a little bit behind him. If he gets it out in front, you can see he had a clear path to the end zone.
Howry and Parker go to the top of your picture now. The two of them. You've got Amundsen in a slot. And you got Fife throwing. And he has time and gets his ball away, and it's just over the arms of Alan Amundsen going down the sideline. So that'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Obviously, the Ducks will go for it if they don't pick up the first down. They need touchdowns. They do not need any more field goals.
3rd and 10. Parker is at the bottom of the screen. Fife again has time. Got a man right through his hand. Jason Willis might have heard the pounding hooves, and the ball went right through his hand.
You know, Keith, this ball got out of spiral for Jason Fife, so it hung in the air, and it threw the timing off between Willis and the quarterback. He's open right here, but the ball kind of fluttered on Fife. Watch this. Gets out of spiral, so the ball actually slows down. Willis mistimed his leap, but still should have caught it.
4th and 10. Fife going to the end zone with this one, and it is incomplete. It was defended by Marcel Amond against Keenan Howry, and Amond went high in the air and slapped it out. And so Oregon is turned away empty at 13:51 to play in the ball game, and they trail 41-19. Made the trek to Eugene. Art Bartner bringing his troops up. There's Art. On first down, Southern California now just wants to run the clock. Turn and give the ball to Justin Fargas, and he's close to 5 yards on the carry. Oregon now is going to have to take some serious chances on defense.
And that's when you become vulnerable to a long run. And you notice the play selection for the Trojans right at the Ducks. They'll come in one wave now, and if you break that one wave, there's nobody in the secondary.
That's a sideways pass, but it's completed to Mike Williams. That'll be a first down.
Our Pontiac performance drive summary. You can see the Trojans have driven the field. Pretty much those first 4 drives were all the length of the field. The one time they got it on the Oregon side of the ball, they used 7 plays, so that took time off the clock as well. Everything working for the Trojans this afternoon, especially that 3rd quarter. That was awesome display.
I'm starting to feel sorry for you. I'll give you one go duck.
Oh, that's big of you.
It was interesting, though, how this thing changed, because it was an ebb and flow and a shoot-em-up, bang-bang ball game in the first half, and Southern California just came out here in the 3rd quarter and just shut them down and took control.
And, you know, in the first half, Oregon moved the ball,
yep,
scored on every possession except their last one, and yet they had to settle for 4 field goals. So the SC's defense only allowed 1 touchdown in that first half. So even though they were giving up a lot of points, 19, they were not giving up as many as Oregon probably should have made.
2nd and 10. Palmer's pass whipped in there to Kareem Kelly, and Kelly is down to the 39-yard line. Kelly, a senior out of Long Beach, had a great career at USC.
And if you're not getting any pass rush, I don't care who your defensive backs are, they're going to get beat by the receivers, because the receivers know which direction they're going in. They know the type of route it's going to be. But Palmer was only sacked twice in the first half, both on 1 drive by Kevin Mitchell.
Palmer now has the new school record at 433 yards in a single game.
And the 5 touchdowns ties Rodney Pete's school record.
We've got 11 and a half minutes to play.
Yeah.
Handed on the inside. Not much doing there as Ducks eat it up.
And the Ducks have got to face Cody Pickett yet. They've got to face Derek Anderson yet. Jason Gesser yet. They're going to give up close to another 500 yards in passing this afternoon.
Well, last week they gave up 536 to Andrew Walter of Arizona State. Today they've given up 433 so far to Carson Palmer. So the wrong kind of records may be in the offing here. 2nd down and 8. supposed to be in a sideways pass too, but it's completed to Williams, and Williams is finding room out there on that side and picks up another first down. Here's that internet poll we had going now as to whether or not they should use instant replay. And this fundamentally is a question that begs itself because it's not applicable. But 75% of those voting said yes, they should use instant replay. Well, you just simply can't, because every game is not televised in Division 1A football. And if it's not televised, you can't use instant replay because it isn't it. And the ball thrown just beyond the corner of the end zone, incomplete.
You know, the other thing you get back to, Keith, I was never a real fan favorite of replay in the NFL because I felt that it slowed the game down and really took the game away from the human beings that are out there playing it. I'm sure that maybe for a playoff system when there's a lot on the line, that maybe it's a good idea then. But regular season college football is just no way, as you said, to televise all these games. There's 58 of them every weekend.
This is Fargas. He's loose. And he's finally knocked out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. First and goal at the 9 for USC. So the Trojans are running downhill right now.
This one may come back. We got a flag down on the field holding against SC, but Justin Fargas over 130 yards rushing this afternoon, punishing the freshman there, Aaron Gibson, at the end of the run.
Well, Pete's had a good day, hasn't he, with his defensive coordinating.
Yeah, that's a good combination. You got Pete as the defensive coordinator and Norm Chow as the offensive coordinator. A lot of experience between the two of them. SC runs a very pro-style defense and a very multiple offense.
Actually, when you come right down to crunch time, though, the difference between these two teams is manpower.
Yeah, there's no question, Keith. You've got inexperience in the Oregon defense. They are a very young football team, and they've been exposed now 2 weeks in a row in the secondary.
That was a 4-yard gain, 10-yard penalty. Second down, 16 coming up right here as Williams goes in motion, and Palmer looks for him. He looks for anybody right now because the Ducks are starting to close in on him, but he gets his ball away, and it is caught by Kelly out of bounds. Incomplete. If he completes one more pass, he will set the record at USC for the number of touchdown passes in a single game. The record is 5. He's tied it, held by Rodney Peete back in 1987.
Such a sweet victory for Carson Palmer. Talked about the broken collarbone, the disappointing performances, the 3 interceptions last year.
Third and 17. Throws it to the end zone. It's no good. Kelly didn't have control. He was juggling the ball in the end zone. When he crossed the line, he was without complete control.
But that was close. I'm not so sure he didn't have control. He didn't have control with 2 hands, but he pinned the ball against his shoulder pad and never really juggled the ball. His feet are going to be in the end zone. Watch his left hand pin it against his shoulder right there. A little bit of a wiggle.
Yeah,
incomplete. Yep.
48-yard field goal try by Killeen. Started almost too soon before the snap. And it's good. Squeezed it in there. Had just enough air in it to get it over. And it's 44-19. And that might be enough. 25 points at 9:49 to play in the ball game. Ooh, that little hook just did it. Hassel is cranking up a bit on the sidelines there. Matt Leonard probably will get busy himself. After what happened to UCLA last week, I think every coach in the conference got to be concerned about getting those numbers 2 and 3 QBs some snaps.
Yeah, there's the two of them right there playing catch.
Yep. Onterrio Smith and Alan Amundsen are waiting here. Some of the folks are leaving. And the ball is kicked to the very back of the end zone and will not be returned. It will come out to the 20. Next Saturday, we're going up to Pullman for Arizona State and Washington State. That'll be at 12:30 Pacific time here on ABC Sports. There will be other regional action for some of you to see, but this is the one we're zeroing in on because it has so much to do with which team might go to the Rose Bowl. Right after Arizona State, Oregon goes to Pullman. Life might get kind of humped up and down and going around in Pullman to have 2 big games like that.
Can't wait.
First down, the ball thrown to the sidelines and dropped by Alan Amundsen.
It's Onterrio Smith on the sidelines, and he's about to become another one of the victims of the SC defense. If he doesn't get over 100 yards, SC is not allowed a 100-yard rusher all year long. He's got 79 yards, and plus he only has 19 carries. He's averaging 26 per game. I wouldn't expect him to get the ball very often now, as the Ducks have got to air it out to get back into this one or get close.
They've gone to the shotgun. Trojans get some pressure. There's a penalty flag. As banging in there is Doyle Butler, and he whacks Jason Fife pretty good just as he throws.
Holding indication against the Ducks.
A holding call is against Oregon.
That was going to be a screen pass, and it took forever for it to get developed. And when it takes that long, the offensive lineman, 9 times out of 10, are going to get called for holding.
Well, the blockers for the screen never could get themselves in front.
Third down.
Backed up.
They were being held by the defensive line.
Run over.
Number 43 is Troy Polamalu. Talk about a tough guy playing on a real bad right ankle.
I'm not sure that he's needed right now either. Ball is thrown too high and got away from Keenan Howry. He had no chance at it. Ball floated over his head. And so just that quickly, Oregon's going to have to punt it away, and Arroyo's going to be standing deep in his own territory.
Pressure, pressure, pressure results in just one interception today, which was a rather remarkable one by Melvin Simmons. But the front four and the blitz package of the Trojans has given number 12 a headache.
And they got 10 of them up there on the line of scrimmage, but then they peel off. That's a good kick by Arroyo. There's your penalty flag. That is called violating the halo.
He was violating more than that. He was kissing him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was right in his shirt.
Justin Finnessy, the hot man.
I mean, you're supposed to give him two yards or something. He didn't give him 2 inches. He is hugging him when the ball comes in.
They had to put in some kind of protective rule for the punt receiver, though. I mean, they were just, it was mayhem for so long.
Yeah, it was wrong for so long.
Yep.
Violated the 2-yard drill. Penalty 10 yards from the spot of foul. First down.
Jack Folliard, who's going to retire after this season, calls timeout. 9:21 to play. $226 yards on 13 catches. My word. And he's just beginning.
34 yards away from R.J. Soward's school record of 260 against UCLA in '96.
47-yard line for the Trojans on the Oregon side. First down. And this is Justin Fargas going over the left side for about 5 yards. Carson Palmer says this about his new young teammate, Mike Williams.
He's a mismatch. Every time we play against somebody, there's nobody that can really compare to his size. He's 6'5", 220 pounds, and most of the DBs in this conference are around 5'9" and 5'10". And here at Oregon, we're playing against 2 DBs that are both 5'8", so hopefully he'll be a mismatch all game long.
I think you can take the word hopefully out of that quote.
Yep. Second down and 1. So Fargas actually picked up 9 yards. Herschel Dennis is the tailback. And Dennis out of Long Beach Poly, a freshman. There's a lot of freshmen on this USC roster.
He's the future for SC at the tailback position, playing behind a couple of seniors in McCullough, McKenzie, and Fargas. Herschel Dennis will get the ball a lot next year.
Oregon's ground game was pretty well controlled, though Onterrio Smith did pass 1,000 yards. Forrest Mozart is in there now at a wideout. They're going to run it and eat the clock. Run the clock, run the clock, run the clock. Time permitting, Thrifty Car Rental post-game report after the ball game. This one is wearing on for a goodly time. Ducks a bone. The Oregon defense looks tired now.
Now they've been on the field an awful long time. A 10 minutes advantage in time of possession for SC.
601 yards now for the Trojans. Yep. Olszewski gets a tackle on Dennis. So the stadium now, the faithful beginning to head toward the hearth. And they let the air out of their cheer sticks.
They may make a stop at the local tavern before they get to that hearth. Drown their sorrows after this one.
Just short of the 30. Palmer gets the pass away as Seth McCune was pursuing him. The pass is overthrown to Mike Williams, incomplete.
Makes you wonder what Carson Palmer's doing in the game, being chased around like that.
I do wonder that myself, especially in a day when quarterback attrition can be so devastating to a team. This is 4th down. That's Dennis taken down at the 30-yard line, and so USC will give up the ball. Oregon takes over. This noise, artificial noisemakers, bone of contention. Here's what Carson Palmer and his coach Pete Carroll have to say about it.
I feel very strongly about banning them, especially at Austin Stadium, as loud as that place can get. And they definitely don't need any noisemakers up there. It gets so loud as it is. And if they had some noisemakers, it'd be out of control.
You know, I don't think it's what it was supposed to be. You know, I think it's supposed to yell and cheer and clap your hands and hoot and holler and all. But I don't know. I just think it looks kind of silly up in the stands. But it's what they do, you know. So next year, I think they're not going to be able to do it. So we'll see what happens.
I won't be surprised to see baseball take them out of action, too, next year.
Yeah, we'll certainly see a few of them in Anaheim tonight. As my Giants go for the
intercepted. Picked off by Darrell Rideaux, and he brings it back down to where the Trojans once again are knocking on the Oregon goal line, back around the 20, about the 30-yard line.
How about Darrell Rideaux, Keith? He got his first sack of the year in the first half. This is his first sack of the year, and it's also his first career interception, rather, for Darrell Rideaux. And isn't he happy being a senior? You bet. You deserve that, Darrell.
Who's coming at quarterback? We've got another quarterback coming out. It's Matt Leinart. Matt Leinart is a freshman out of Santa Ana, 6'6" and 215 pounds. So he gets to take a little action in the heat of a game. And first thing he does is hand it off to Dennis and then fall down. No gain on the play.
Fife only threw 2 interceptions coming into today's game. Been picked off twice here by the Trojans.
He's taken a pretty good pounding today.
Yeah, we showed that stat where he's been hurried a number of times, knocked down, sacked. He suffered 3 sacks, but that really doesn't tell the whole story.
2nd and 10. Time remaining just under 6 minutes. Up the middle, it's Dennis. And he will run for 7 yards on that carry. And your escape route has now been threatened. But give it to them, Bill Moose, the athletic director, and all the people involved in the enlargement process and renovation of Autzen Stadium. It's a fine job. They're not quite finished. When they are finished, it'll be stunning. They're not going to get the first down on that carry by Dennis. So they'll be looking at 3rd down. Tomorrow, the competitive figure skating season begins. Don't think you need more than 54,000 seats either in Eugene, Oregon, do you?
Well, I didn't think they needed more than 45 about 10 years ago, but they proved me wrong then.
Well, that's true, but the one thing you don't want, you want that demand to stay even at least, if not up. You bet. And you don't want empty seats. And you get those great big old houses sometimes, you can't fill them. So right now, I think a lot of attention has to go down into the state of Arizona tonight, where Washington State is in Tucson against Arizona. And Washington is down playing Arizona State Sun Devils. You know, you always wonder, the Sun Devils scored all those points against Stanford, turned right around and let North Carolina beat them. And then just barely managed to scrape by with 13 points against Oregon State. Oregon State, meantime, against California this afternoon is 24-13 up at Corvallis.
And it makes you wonder if Arizona State can continue to be effective throwing the ball. They're going against a Husky pass defense that is ranked right down there with Oregon's pass defense.
There's a penalty flag, and it comes from the referee very quickly on the snap of the ball. Stopping the clock at 4:23. The thing you got to remember is Washington State beat USC.
Yes, they did.
And that's the dark cloud on the horizon for the Trojans.
Set the clock to 4:24.
He blocked extra point.
4:24.
Yep. And a couple of drop balls. And a missed field goal. And Dunning of Washington State hit his when he had to. Hit one to tie and then hit one to win. There's the coach and the young man from 10 Mile, Oregon. Pass thrown to Sandy Parker. And Parker is taken down by Leach up around the 38-yard line. That'll be a first down for the Oregon Ducks.
That young man did not go to the Red Rooster and see Pete the barber. He did that all by himself.
Troy goes to the barber. He's going to fill it up. Here's Fife being chased to the sidelines. And he's tackled out of bounds. They were sort of hanging on to each other when they went out of bounds, and I don't see a flag.
That's amazing. Bobby Otani, number 41, didn't get flagged for this because he was holding on to Fife across the white line all the way into the Oregon bench, and Mike Belotti's letting the officials know about it. Boy, tell you what, we've seen a lot worse, a lot less things called.
They want to go to the hearth too. 4:26 4 minutes to play. Fife's pass thrown, tipped, and it bounced. Short hopped to Keenan Howry. There's your schedule for the Pac-10. UCLA just went into all kinds of grief. They were talking about starting Matt Moore when I left Los Angeles against Stanford today. If that's the case, Matt Moore, Kyle Bowler, and who else? One other who's a Hart High School.
Right, Newhall.
Hart High School out of Newhall. Bowler is the senior of the group. Moore is the freshman. And the ball is thrown quickly to Keenan Howry, and the ball is caught by Keenan for a first down. And it's over at the 37-yard line.
Kyle Matter.
Matter from Stanford. Kyle Matter, yes. So 3 quarterbacks from Hart High School in Newhall, California, conceivably could have been the starting quarterbacks today at the Pac-10.
That's incredible.
It is. It really is. Fife steps away from the pressure there, and his pass is on the way and caught by Jason Willis. And Jason will go out down around the 18-yard line. So the Ducks reaching down, finding a little more energy, trying to stick the ball in the end zone in a 44-19 ball game with 3 minutes and 33 seconds to play.
And right now, all you can do right now is just get a good feeling about your team by putting 6 points on the board right now. You're not going to win this ball game, but you got to be thinking ahead to next week. Try to get some type of confidence. This defense confidence has got to be just shattered. The offense could help them out with a couple of points here.
It's confirmed now that Matt Moore did start for UCLA today, and it depends on whether or not Kyle Matter did it, because Chris Lewis, I heard, was a bit dinged up.
Yeah.
What did they call here?
Yeah, they say it hit the turf. Officials conferring.
Yep. No catch.
How about instant replay here, Keith?
Go ahead. Be my guest. It's free.
I'm going to go under the hood here and tell you, well, give me a half an hour and I'll tell you that was an incomplete pass.
Patty Mac.
Oh, it's a good catch. Great camera angle, too. Is got both hands underneath that ball. Beautiful for Howry.
2nd and 10. Hard shot to the sidelines, caught by Sammy Parker. And he goes out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Marcamento and Kelly Hayes. Nice trip to Philly, guys. Executive producer of ABC Sports, Howard Katz. Bob Toms, our senior producer of ABC Sports, and our coordinating producer, Bob Goodrich. Today's game produced by Mark Loomis, directed by Patrick McManus. Directed by Patrick McManus. I've given him 2 pops. Derek Mobley, the associate producer, associate director Jeff Kibler, and coming to the outside. Fife takes a pretty good thump as he gets down to about the 2-yard line. But that's going to be a 1st and goal for the Oregon Ducks at the 2. John Zippe is our technical director. And our computer graphics, Matt Jenkins and Fred Amos. Our production assistants, Juliana Barbera and Wixie, Tom Wicks. Our studio show produced by Tim Weinkopf, directed by Calvin Haywood, Kevin Berman, and technical director. Todd Harris has packed up his expo now and will move on to his next vintage. And there's a touchdown. Terrence Whitehead slams it into the end zone. And the beautiful jury has come over to drive Dan Fouts safely home after the game.
Thank you very much. Terrence Whitehead with his 2nd touchdown of his young career, being a true freshman, which means he was in high school at this time last year.
He's growing, too. He's 5'10", 202 pounds, and we've got an Oregon man shaking up on the field.
That looks pretty cool.
By the time he comes out for next season, he's liable to be a pretty good-sized guy. At number 77 is Mike DeLaGrange. He's a 345-pound tackle, sophomore out of Grants Pass. And he's shaken up. They're looking at his lower leg. Well, it's a lot of weight to be toting around on legs. 345 pounds. But it's been a good day for that man, Pete Carroll, who left professional football to come back to college, and he's having a time of his life. And this fellow right here, Carson Palmer, is going to remember this day fondly all of his life.
And he's going to make sure that all the fans in the stands remember it too as he's talking to him. LaGrange is number 77 right there. And he gets, again, it's one of those situations where the pile kind of falls on the back of your legs. Very scary moment for an offensive lineman. Painful too.
Yes, sir. Having received 2 new knees, I guarantee you, you just wince every time you see that, because you know there's going to be time to come on those kinds of things. Siegel got it. So we are at 44-26. Southern California leading Oregon. 3 minutes and 14 seconds to play in the game. And there's a ferry boat coming. For those of you still with us, we can tell you that UCLA is losing to Stanford. What was it, 14-0? 15-0. So life has continued to be rough for the Bruins in the second half of the season.
And the Ducks obviously will go with the onside kick. They're loading up the left side. The Trojans have their good hands people in there. Polamalu, Grootegoed, Malaefou MacKenzie, DeShaun Hill.
Wasn't that Jacob Rogers there in street clothes? Looks like it. Bounces up, taken down, and handled by Grootegoed. So the Trojans will have it on the 46-yard line of Oregon. Today's Chevrolet players of the game are Carson Palmer for Southern California. Carson, 31 out of 42, 448 yards, passing for 5 touchdowns. School record for passing yards, and ties the record for touchdown passes. For the Oregon Ducks, it's kicker Jared Siegel. 4 for 4 in field goals. He made 13 consecutive now. He made today from 44, 41, 48, and 31. So big day for Jared. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet making a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Leinart gives to Dennis nothing.
And the reason they call this game football, if you're an Oregon fan, it's because that's been about the only highlights you had today. Jared Siegel, 4 field goals. That one from 44. Bringing it a little closer from 41. This one was testing his limits, but remember, the 59-yarder earlier this year against UCLA. But that is your Oregon football highlight right there.
The Trojans' remaining schedule is there's an apple at the end of it. I remember Ara Parsekian came in his first year at Notre Dame 9-0, got beat. We may be facing that same thing this year if life goes along for Tyrone Willingham and the Fighting Irish as it has so far. They had a good outing today, but frankly, I was not surprised by their win over Florida State. And I thought Florida State was suspect going in.
Yeah, and looks good schedule-wise for Notre Dame as they've got BC, Navy, and Rutgers all at home before that SC game.
That's all right. SC game's in the Coliseum.
And we'll be there.
Oh, yeah. Second down for the Trojans. Run the clock. They don't have any. They got enough points. All they got to do is get all the numbers off of the clock and go home with a win. And then sit around and wait and see what happens tonight. Then next week when Arizona State goes to Pullman to face Washington State. So the University of Oregon Ducks have sustained their first back-to-back home losses since 1997. And today they were just simply outmanned.
And for Pete Carroll and the Trojans, they get to enjoy a weekend off next weekend to get healthy for their stretch run.
Sometimes it's good. I would think in this instance it would be very good for them, because they've got a lot of people who just dinged up a little bit here and there, but enough to bother them.
Yeah, when you consider Troy Polamalu, who's been playing on a bad ankle for the last 2 weeks, you know he'll love the time off.
Get Kareem Kelly well.
Yep.
Try to keep Mike Williams tied down on the ground.
Remarkable game. 226 yards, 2 touchdown receptions, 13 catches all told.
Well, Mike doesn't seem at all impressed with the circumstances. He's just trying to learn something every day. He's not full of himself, as sometimes it can happen. He just looks like he's going to be a great young football player.
You know, I think a big part of that, Keith, is the 2 guys that he plays alongside, Kareem Kelly and Colbert, provide great example for the young receivers.
Yes, they do. Colbert probably runs as good a route as anybody we've seen in the conference, don't you think?
No question. And when Kareem Kelly is healthy.
I'll tell you one of the other things that I got a letter the other day from John Makovic at Arizona, and John was really hot about the fact that Bobby Wade is not on the list of the Biletnikoff candidates for the wide receiver award. I happen to agree with John. I'd be mad too. As a matter of fact, I did get mad and I quit voting. It just didn't seem, it was a waste of time, so I quit. But it's absurd. You've got some of the best receivers in the country, and I think you only got one of them listed on the Biletnikoff candidates now.
And it doesn't allow for a receiver to have a good second half of the season, as we're seeing Mike Williams have now. They put the list out so early, and then they whittle it down before they really get a good look at who are the top players. Bobby Wade is going to be an All-American.
He's scary. He's so good. Get the ball in his hands, and he's amazing.
And top punt returner in the conference as well.
Sean McDonald, not too bad at Arizona State either. Wade, of course, is the top receiver in the conference. Depending on what he does tonight, and we've seen already what Mike Williams is going to do. This punt is out of the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. Today, Onterrio Smith, in defeat, will go past 1,000 yards for the season. Gained 79 yards today, and everybody in the world seems to think, although he said nothing about it really, that he'll be gone after this season to play on Sunday.
I talked to him about it earlier in the year, and he just kind of winked and said that with that wink, exactly what you alluded to, Keith, that this is probably going to be it for him, and I think he's ready to go to the NFL.
Oh, I think so.
But that is USC defense. Remember, Chris Brown is leading the nation in rushing, didn't get 100 yards on the SC defense. Neither did Cadillac Williams or Steven Jackson. And now Onterrio Smith is added to the list.
This one heading toward the history books. Just a matter of killing the clock now as the Ducks come out, fire the ball, and complete the pass at 1:50 to play. Move the chains. Sammy Parker getting another catch. Oregon has Stanford next week here at Autzen Stadium. No, it's 2 weeks from today. That's right. They're off next week. And Oregon's a team that needs a week off, too.
We talked earlier in the game about a complete game for Carson Palmer. I'd say that's complete. The play selection of Norm Chow, run a little, dink a little, then go for the bomb. 8 plays of 20 yards or more, and they have kept their eye on the O-zone. Onterrio Smith held to less than 100 yards rushing.
Minute 40 to play. Fife lets it go down the middle. Wrighster makes the catch at midfield. That's another first down for the Oregon Ducks. They scored a little while ago. Now they're going to try to put another in the end zone. And when you look at the final score in the records, you'll think, well, that was a pretty good ball game. Well, it was in the first half. Second half was one-sided. Got a man open again, and Fife is right on target, completing to Keenan Howry.
19 with the 31.
Don't you think Keenan plays on Sunday, Dan?
Yeah, I do, Keith. I think that he's got the ability to make tough catches, run with the ball after the catch, but I think when he starts his NFL career, he's got to be a punt returner. He is so good at bringing back punts.
Pete Carroll just put DeShaun Hill back into the ball game at that free safety spot because the Ducks are having their way right now with those people who are out there. And Hill's pretty good. Ball is thrown outside and thrown away from Sammy Parker. It's incomplete. And your clock stops at 1:17. And the colors now are changing. The maples are getting red. The poplars are turning gold. And the tamaracks are getting that burgundy hue about them.
Nature's palette.
And it's been a glorious day today. It really has.
Actually, the trees are resembling the Trojans' colors.
They painted it. Touchdown, Keenan Howry. I told you the ferry was coming. Keenan just caught it.
Jason Fife competing to the very end. Don't be surprised if the Ducks don't fake this field goal, this extra point attempt, and go for two here.
Why?
Just for exercise.
Oh.
Jason Fife gets time to throw against this very loose zone coverage, deep coverage of the Trojans, but he can stare down Keenan Howry the whole way and then just lay it out to him for the score.
I wonder when football season's over, I could rent that klaxon they've got here and put it on my boat for the summer.
I think that you could probably get it for nothing, Keith. I'll work on that for you. I'm not sure
I
your
know a
boat's
couple of
big
guys
enough
I'd
for
like to slide up behind and wham them with that.
Yeah, that'll save your lung power, won't it? You don't have to yell at them anymore.
A pretty good day for Keenan. In ordinary circumstances, you know, we'd be raving about that. But it's late. 1:12 to go and 612 yards for USC versus 412 for Oregon. Normally, you're happy to have 412 yards. It normally means you're going to go home winning.
You just can't give up 600 yards 2 weeks in a row, as the Ducks have done.
Onside, fight for it. USC's got it.
Yeah, Polamalu got it.
Huh?
He let it get away, but he scrambled after it. Went down on all fours and just battled for it. A good skidding kick by Siegel. Stayed down low. Never really did get the hop. Polamalu crossed the line and almost lost it to Rasuli Webster.
Take a knee. Let the clock run. Oregon has no timeouts remaining, so they can't stop the clock. And it'll just roll along. Trojans will have to snap it one more time. And that'll do it. With the final score at the moment reading at least 44-33, 11-point lead, but margin, but it was greater than that.
And really, it was a total team effort. Great determination by both the offense and defense of the University of Southern California today.
That'll do it. Your ball game is now going for the history books as soon as the clock ticks off. And the Trojans are going to add to their victory total for the season against 2 losses, but the one loss that hurts them the most was the overtime loss to Washington State in Pullman, because they are a game behind the Cougars, and the Cougars are playing in Tucson, Arizona tonight. So Pete Carroll and Mike Bellotti shake hands at the center of the field. The game is over. We'll be right back. Well, the first half was what we anticipated in the matchup between these two teams. The second half was not. It was utterly dominated by Southern California, and the Trojans wind up winning it by a final score of 44-33. ABC Sports is online at ESPN.com. Your keyword, ABC Sports. Don't forget, Monday night at 6 Pacific, New York Giants travel to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles on ABC Sports.